Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And way back in the 90s, he was in a very famous TV show. And now he's going through a whole lot of self-discovery and self-realization as his dark past is looming just around the corner, waiting to get caught up with him. That's right, folks. It's the Bojack Horseman Season 6, Part 1, SpoilerCast! Because I'm Bojack the Horse, don't act like you don't know. All right. So, Dragon, Bojack Horseman Season 6. I mean, I think it's fair to say you and I are both big fans of this show. I think it took you a little while to get used to it because of the design of the show, like the actual aesthetic to it. Ironically enough, you said it was kind of very what's the show you compared it to? The Mr. Pickles, right?
Yes, Mr. Pickles. Yeah, it's pretty much
yes.
Yeah, it's a non-anthropomorphized version of it. Yeah.
And it's like nowadays, I feel like in the first couple seasons, I can see where you were coming from. But I feel like this show has gravitated so far from its original ambition in terms of its style. And man, this show is doing a lot of things really artistically captivating, I think. And Bojack Horseman Season 6, Part 1 is no exception, Dragon. I honestly think that Season 5 was great. But the one thing that I have with Season 5 is that I feel like Season 5 was maybe a little bit too all over the place in terms of, like, you know, the characters were really scattered around. We had a lot of the episodes were very experimental in nature, which was cool, but it didn't necessarily feel like a traditional season. It was a very cool season for what it was with the Filbert stuff and everything. But I don't know, it was a little like I feel like the mix of characters was a little off. And ironically enough, Dragon, in spite of Season 6, in spite of the fact that the characters are more separated than they've ever been before, I feel like this season and this stretch of 8 episodes is just, like, it's such a great blend of all the different characters and all the personalities that we've come to know and love. And even the side characters get a chance to shine in the final episode, which is a really bold move on this show's part. So, Dragon, I gotta say, I just I watched BoJack Horseman Season 6, Part 1. I didn't stay up until midnight to watch it as soon as it dropped on Netflix, but I was up at like 6 a.m. to watch it that morning. And my golly, I got done with it probably around noon or 1 o'clock. And Dragon, I mean, it's, you know, of course we can't really call it, we can't judge a horse by its cover per se, because this season is not done yet. There's still another 8 episodes to go. Ooh, man, but Dragon, I mean, this is very much the ultimate, like, I feel like the dominoes have been set up with Season 6, Part 1, and I feel like the dominoes are going to fall in Season 6, Part 2. And I was just riveted the whole way through this thing. I really was. I thought it was a great way to kind of like build Bojack's character back up. And then, man, that cliffhanger is just haunting, man. It really has haunted me since the first time I saw it. It gives me chills, just the implications of it. So, yeah, I am very much on my high horse puns about BoJack Horseman Season 6, Part 1, and I am in utter suspense and dread about what's going to happen in Season 6, Part 2, Dragon. I really am very much like, I have legit anxiety about it.
Well, not to look a gift horse in the mouth. No. I think you misused a Judge a Horse by its cover, and you were stretching on that one. But no, in all seriousness. Bojack Season 6, of course, as Tiki kind of alluded to. I remember I was late to the party. It took a lot to get me there. Basically, all the Will Arnett kind of talk up, and basically just kind of the banner kind of mocking me on Netflix now and again. Like, all right, I might as well check it out. Because again, my worst fear was it was going to be something like a Mr. Pickles sort of show, given that look. And I still to this day, I'm still a little weirded out by the whole the interspecies relationship of it all. But it bothered me more in the beginning. I've gotten kind of used to it. That's sort of the basically BoJack is a show that the sell I have for BoJack is a show that I like. I don't love, but I respect the crap out of it. And that's the thing. I will say, I think 4 onward, I think progressively it got so much better after the first season. I think each season it keeps getting better and better. I think 4 through 6 or half, whatever you want to call it. That's probably the
season 6A.
6A, yes. I'll say a lot of nice things about Breaking Bad, but that whole divvying of the seasons, man, always messes with you. Regardless, so the point being, up to this, again, I think 4 through 6A has been kind of like narratively, it's been getting stronger and stronger, and I've been, I love it on narrative levels. That's the thing. No matter how much like some elements of BoJack, I'm never going to be fully come around on. Mr. Peanut Butter being an example of. I will always respect this show for what it did, man. And always it sucked me in with man, people are raving about this show. Why on earth are people raving about this show? And it's warranted. I gotta be honest. It's certainly warranted. It's not for everyone though, but it's definitely it's narratively what they're doing. It's just gotten better and better, and they.
I really think it's the first animated show to get onto that Breaking Bad pedestal of just intense storytelling. And remember, I believe it was the season 5 poster. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was Soprano, White, Horseman. Kind of comparing BoJack to the great anti-heroes of TV.
Ah, yes.
Dragon, I honestly don't think that comparison's that far off now. I really don't.
There's always kind of a vaguely kind of Tony Soprano-esque quality to BoJack with the whole kind of, the guy needs help, he needs therapy, he needs self-reflection, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so yeah, with BoJack, so this half season, which by the way, I knew they advertised they were going to break it into 2 seasons. It was going to be October and January, I believe. They're going to break it down like that. What I didn't know, I thought it was going to be 2 full seasons, or at least between 10 to 12 episodes per season. But no, so I was basically by the time I was nearing 7, I was like, man, I wonder. Things seem like we're coming to a close.
Right.
This, I wonder. So I looked up the number of episodes. Oh, it's 8. So the next one's gonna be my last one. Ooh. It definitely doesn't feel like the end of a season, but that's the point. It's like an end to a half. Again, it's kind of the big act break of the last.
It doesn't feel like an end of the season, but you're right. It does have the act break, and the cliffhanger is just insane. It's the biggest cliffhanger that the show's ever done.
Kind of like for the theater snobs out there, the ones who have technically it's not always a 3 acts. Sometimes there's Act 1 and Act 2. It's one of those things. You have kind of a bloated Act 1 and a bloated Act 2 in a good way. That's sort of kind of what we have going on here. It's kind of a division between the 2 acts.
I honestly wouldn't even call it bloated because I think the 8 episodes go by in a flash, man. This was really easy watch for me.
Well, that's what I mean. This isn't blood. I'm just saying the analogy. Usually, it's instead of a 3rd act, you absorb it into the 2 acts. Therefore, it's full.
Right.
But yeah, this is not bloated. Point being, this season, this half season, we're really taking advantage of the 2-part finale quality of the piece, which I will find. I did a little bit of research going into this season. After the fact, getting ready for this, we're doing now. I found out that they knew, as you probably guess. So Netflix did. They kind of classily canceled this. So what happened was from the beginning, ever since they did season 1, Netflix kind of gave them the note of well, man, it really seems like you're ending it in 1 season. You kind of said all you need to say about the character at the end of the first season. Don't do that anymore. So okay, so basically going forward, they wrapped things up, but also left a little room for growth, the whole Hollyhock is his brother, not he's Hollyhock's brother, not his father. That whole thing. And there's always been a little bit of room to grow, and obviously the rehab angle going into this season. And so they get ready. They finish. So they get done 5, and they get ready to go into 6, and they're kind of winked. They're kind of winked at by Netflix as in, remember that thing we said we kind of talked about way back in season 1. Just they give them the really classy guys. you're probably not going to get a 7, so you might want to make this your last one to do it right. So that was really classy on Netflix to do them. You know, they gave him it's not going to be one of those things you're going to be like a big campaign of like, we want Bojack to get the ending he deserves.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it's not that sort of thing. So the point is, like, they fully planned out. They knew this was the last season, hence the whole 2-part breakdown. So I think it really shows in narratively what we're doing this season. This season, I love the themes of this season. This season is picking up where season 5 left off with Holy Kid. He's going to rehab. What can we say about rehab? And really, like, the show at its best, I think all the Will Arnett stuff, all the stuff about Bojack, the character, and all the trauma of the character and all that sort of stuff, I think it's the most interesting stuff that the show brings to the table. The Todd stuff's fun as all get out. It's got better after that first season. The point being, with Bojack here, the season as a whole, and this also bleeds into the other characters, you know, this is a season about recovery and the consequence and consequence to your action along the healing path. It's about recovery and consequence. Those are the 2 big themes of the season.
All
right.
So let's get right into it. Season 6, episode 1, a horse walks into a rehab.
No, I think it's a horse walks into rehab.
No, I'm reading it off Google, and it says a horse walks into a rehab.
Okay.
Unless Google has it wrong, Dragon. Do you trust Google? Do you trust Google, Dragon? All right.
Anyway, point being, yes. Go.
This episode is fucking brilliant.
It is. This is probably my favorite. I gotta be honest. This one might be my favorite of this half of season.
I mean, it's a really, really strong start, man. It sets a lot of things into motion. That cold open at the planetarium and the hospital is just absolutely chilling.
Yes, it is. Of course, the aftermath of Sarah Lynn, the death that Bojack blames himself for. Of course, basically he went on a binge and took her with him, and it got worse from there. It's really haunting. I love the imagery of the planetarium. We just keep bringing back all throughout this season. It's like like the little kind of like the cosmos, the stars, kind of being reflected.
Yeah, that's a great visual cue. It's a really good way to kind of like make this season distinct from the other seasons. Kind of like how. How season 5 had the Filbert angle, and then season 4 had the Beatrice's memories angle.
Exactly. So we have a really good visual reminder. Basically, every time it looks at the vodka bottle. Anyway. So, this is really, it's basically the Sarah Lynn and the aftermath of Sarah Lynn really sums up the theme of the first half. That's the root trauma that Bojack's really dealing with, like a death that he was very specifically responsible for. That he very much blames himself for, against Sarah Lynn being obviously someone who had a huge kind of connect to his past with horsing around, which he defines his whole life by, horsing around, being a celebrity, Hollywood, or formerly Hollywood, I guess at that point. So Sarah Lynn is very connected to who Bojack identifies himself with, and of course that part kind of dying off is kind of him dying on the inside to an extent. It's kind of a question: can he come back from that? I guess.
And of course, the brilliant structure of this episode is every time we see the flashback, we think like, wait, is this the first time he has a drink?
Yeah, that was my favorite thing in this episode.
It just gets progressively younger and younger and younger and more heartbreaking. And oh man.
Well, okay. Well, first off, I want to call that, because we don't have to do it every episode. We got to do it in this first one though, because I mean, let's just address it up front so we don't have to worry about going through it as we go on. So, of course, I love how we kind of pull the rug out from under. So we're about to go into dun, 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 and then the film breaks. Where it's like, okay, it's kind of like Bojack taking a very proactive say, no, we're not doing that again, man. I'm just, I'm going in the rehab. It's like no more of the endless cycle. And of course, going forward, we have a new opening credits sequence that's this really great. It looks even better.
Oh God, it's such a good opening credits sequence. Yeah,
basically, it's the perfect opening credits sequence you're gonna have for your last season, where basically it's Bojack reflecting on his past and trying to move forward. Really cool stuff there.
But while the past haunts him at the same time.
Absolutely. So again, it's less like Bojack's kind of he's kind of moving around like kind of dazeless in life. It's more like now he's haunted by he's more cognizant. He's more sober to the life that he's had.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
Yeah, really
So I got to tell you, I love how we start off seasons compared to where we're going with the dominoes being set up to fall and everything. I love how we start season 6 with a very uplifting and hopeful kind of rehab montage. I love that.
Yeah, I really like the rehab characters that we get. I love the secretary guy who wants to take the selfie.
I gotta be honest, you and I'm getting a sense this episode, you and I might be on the opposite sides on a few things this season. I hated that gopher, man.
Really? Oh man. I don't know. What I liked about him is that I felt like he was kind of like realistic to the type of person who would work in an environment like that, like someone who's trying a little bit too hard to be friendly and be your buddy and help you through this. You know what I mean?
Well, let me put it this way: I think I hate him because I was supposed to dislike him.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
So let me be clear. Yeah, I should be clear about that. But they had some really crappy. He had like a really a scummy moment in the next episode we're gonna get to. It a really scummy bit where I just wanted to punch that guy, but we're gonna get there.
All right. Well, what's the other thing that you feel opposite about? Do you not like the flashbacks?
No. I love the you know me. I love flashbacks, man.
Okay.
No. We'll get to it. We'll get to it later in the thing.
Fair enough.
Anyway, well, the point being though, so yeah, just the bridge off that point with the gopher. The gopher is significant. Is really representative of a thing I really want to applaud the season for. So again, we're talking about rehab. We're really showing accurate, very very authentic recovery and everything. So I love the honesty in the rehab. I love that. While we're showing Bojack is benefiting from the rehab, we're also calling out rehab, especially Hollywood rehabs. And I love that moment where Bojack is basically they're doing like the art therapy, and he kind of calls everybody out, and basically kind of calls out like the rehab kind of being a business of repeat visits and repeat customers, because we see from the get go when he checks in the place, it's $100,000.
Right.
It's $100,000, and and then you have the staff, and like the staff indicative of the gopher and Dr. Champ, even where again these are guys who Dr. Champ, we're going to peel back some layers later on.
Oh man, Dr. Champ I think is one of the most complex characters the show's ever had, for good or for bad.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. I love that like for the gopher for example, the gopher again, he's taking selfies just completely. He just wants to put these it's a business built on like, look at the successes we've had, look at the Ben Afflecks we've had in this rehab. Look at the he's going to take a picture of the celebrities, and it's like kind of a tradition of like, look who we fixed. Well, no, you didn't fix them. You're just again, it's many repeat customers. Basically, it's publicity as well as like your own gratification. So again, these are people yet again, this always bugs me when I'm on Bojack's side. But again, I'm kind of on Bojack's side where he looks horrible. He wants to get on a healing path, and you're stopping him. It's just, I don't know. It's just.
Right, well, you know what? The photo wall does give us a significant moment where Bojack sees Sarah Lynn's picture on that wall, and that kind of like sets the stage for the rest of the episode.
I know, and that's great. Within the montage of him, again, I love that Bojack is giving the rehab the old college try, where again he's initially seems like, oh God, it's miserable. Is anyone going to rehab? I'm sure it's like the first week's going to be terrible. It is. Mm-hmm. But again, over time, it kind of grows into it, and I love that sober Bojack is a really good listener. I love that he listened to all their problems, and he's very cognizant of their problems, but he calls them out on their stuff later on. Like, you do this, you do that, And of course, a little bit of irony there of Bojack, very much being the ex-listener that he is, and also just, yeah.
Yep.
Bojack has a really great ironic line in this that's really going to be threaded throughout the rest of the season. Bojack says, if you do rehab more than once, you're a lost cause. And of course, there's some irony and a little bit of an argument there, where again, Bojack, as we see in the season, he does it multiple times. So again, kind of a little bit of a setup there that I think it's posing the big question on the rewatch. Is Bojack a lost cause?
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like by the end of the season, we're meant to think, no, he's not. He's like a new man. Yeah. But by the same time, we're like, oh boy.
There's a there's a very significant ...
Yeah,
folks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so get back to the thing you were talking about. My favorite thing in the whole episode, the first shrink device. The first shrink device is tragic and brilliant. So I think it's the most brilliant thing in this first half of the season, quite possibly. I love as you said, we're going back further and further, and we get to see each of these instances, like Sharona spiking the OJ on horsing around, which again you might think, okay, so when he kind of like he's getting drunk on set, and it's like, oh god, it was. I love how Bojack is the innocent in that situation. I love how Bojack so uniquely. Bojack is the innocent initially in all these situations. I think that's really good.
Well, I would say the time in high school is probably the most that's the most heartbreaking one to me, Dragon.
It is. Here's the thing. I can't say it's really heartbreaking. I can say all of them are quite heartbreaking in some sense.
Honestly, the high school one's the most relatable.
Sure. So let's see. So we have Sharona. Of course, Sharona is going to be a big character. Essentially the hairstylist on horsing around. She kind of spiked the OJs, kind of helped Bojack kind of loosen up when he was kissing Cindy Crawford. In this case, Cindy Crawfish. Let's see. Then we have the high school party, which basically the crushing these, he humiliates this poor girl who was nice to him in Spanish class.
Yeah, and it just kind of like it goes to show kind of like the dangerous effects of alcohol, and like how like you think that alcohol makes you like this really charming guy on the inside, like you get a good ego boost, but then on the outside it could look ugly, and it's a good kind of like reality check.
Absolutely, and again, kind of Bojack kind of drinking for like it's kind of a foreshadow for Hollywood. You're drinking to fit in, you're drinking because everybody else is. A little bit of the peer pressure of the biz. Let's see, of course, to me, one of the most heartbreaking, Butterscotch.
I wouldn't even call this heartbreaking. This is just straight up scary.
God, so of course,
Butterscotch Horseman is like the ultimate villain of the series, I think, even though he's been dead for the entirety of the show's runtime.
Oh God, Butterscotch, man. Butterscotch is
he's just a piece of work, man.
Not only is Butterscotch Horseman an author, he's an author of old Bojack's Pain. Butterscotch, he's of course this. I love how we've perverted the father son, sharing a beer moment, the old father son drinking, bonding over alcohol moment, and we've used this as he used this to blackmail his own son's silence for the affair that he was having. Which, of course, knowing Butterscotch, an affair is what's going to give Bojack his sister is going to go through this whole season 4 journey with. It's just so sad.
Yeah.
Then we have, honestly, it was artful, and I love that it was the final note of the episode. We have the New Year's thing. So yeah, I love that we had a little nod to his father, and we also had a nod to his mother here, where it's New Year's and the youngest Bojack, like maybe like the old sailor suit Bojack.
Sailor suit Bojack, yeah. Oh my God.
And I love that it's we have this. It's a callback to the. Obviously, there are 2 callbacks to the funeral episode because I think it's pretty safe to assume the big Emmy episode, who I doubt it got the Emmy because the Emmys are fickle, but let's just say the big talked up episode from season 5 is the eulogy.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone loves the eulogy, and of course, Butterscotch was at the start of the eulogy. Therefore, Butterscotch is in this episode, and we played the same music when Bojack. We focused on Bojack's face, and we heard like the kind of ballroom music playing. So we play the ballroom music here as he's drinking the vodka that's just left out by his drunken and asleep parents on New Year's Eve, and just drinking and kind of curling up to his mother and sleeping, basically feigning that he's passed out like the 2 of them. That's so sad and tragic, man.
If Vera Farmiga was watching Dragon, what would she say?
She would say, "It's so sad."
Look at the little horse with his sailor suit. God. All right.
Oh God, why can't Vera Farmiga review Bojack Horseman? Just look at the sad, depressed horse in this episode. Anyway.
All right, season 6, episode 2, the new client.
Wait, Tiki, there's one other thing we should talk about real quick with episode 1. The main plot, and we talk about all the artful stuff. There's one thing we got to talk about, the sober companion. Bojack was kind of a sober companion in episode 1.
Oh, yes, of course. And with his arc, basically what he needs to do is kind of his mission is to prevent another Sarah Lynn at all costs.
Exactly. And he has this wonderful scene with Tim Meadows. And I got to tell you, Tiki, Tim Meadows, he's a wonderful comic actor. This is the first time, at least in my memory, I've seen him do a little bit of heartfelt stuff, like a dash of in the 3rd act of all the Schooled episodes. It's the spinoff of the Goldbergs. It's the ones in the 90s. Tim Meadows, who basically became the principal. Anyway, point being, Tim Meadows, he gave a really wonderful dramatic performance in this, where basically he's the father he's the father to Jameson. And of course, I love the fact that he collects he gets paid essentially in Hollywood hush money with all these famous props, like the car from Ferris Bueller's. My favorite prop, by the way, the glass window from The Graduate. I love glass window. I love that we subverted the Ferris Bueller thing, where we beat up the car for a confrontation with Dad, and then it goes out the window, but it doesn't even go out the window; it just crashes the glass. And why is that important? It's The Graduate glass. And of course, we punctuate this really great dramatic scene between the two of them, the Flintstones car, which is just great. But anyway, also, this isn't the moment I'm talking about with the Gopher, but it's another little crappy moment with the Gopher here. The Gopher, he finally got a selfie, but you know what? He had to charge Bojack another $100,000 for leaving the rehab because he said he didn't recognize him. He did that just to get that selfie, man. That's not cool. Charge him another $100,000 for a selfie.
Okay, you know what? I didn't even catch that. You're right. That isn't cool at all.
That's what I'm saying. He does another thing like that too, which really pisses me off, and we're gonna get there. That's not even the one that bugs me. We're gonna get there.
Okay.
Point being, we have the symbol of the vodka in the water bottle. So the idea is we have a way to sneak the vodka into rehab, and there's one that got through after he set Jameson on the right path. So pointedly, every time he looks in this bottle, you see the planetarium. So enduring symbol of the season, folks. Episode 2, the new client.
All right, so this is the big Princess Carolyn episode, and Dragon, I love the motif we get with the multiple Carolyns in work mode and mom mode, kind of like surrounding her.
Mm-hmm.
Just really impressive. Like, I imagine the storyboarding work that must have gone into that.
I like how roughly 6 of the 8 episodes are character focused, character centric.
Sure.
So Princess Carolyn here, she's very overwhelmed by single parenthood. Now, again, here's a really fascinating about the Princess Carolyn stuff. Looking at the context of the series, and remember, we're closing all our loops this season. So this is all important. I love that, obviously Princess Carolyn from her very effective, the Amelia Earhart episode from season 5, which is a really good episode too, by the way. I remember I meant to mention this.
One of the best episodes of season 5.
I forgot to mention it when we were at the start of things here, but actually I rewatched all of season 5 before, like on the eve of the drop of season 6 or 6A. So I definitely was really fresh on these going into it.
Oh.
Anywho, so as we learned from that, Princess Carolyn, she has deep mommy issues. Basically, it's like she has deep mommy issues mixed with kind of the Hollywood, being the Hollywood agent of it all. So in the business, mixed with her mother issues, that kind of leads to kind of situation she finds herself in now. And of course, I love that this episode really raises the solid question, and it continues the consequences theme of season 4 and all of season 5. She went through all of these hoops to adopt the child. Remember, she went through all that to adopt the child, the untitled Princess Carolyn project. And after all of that, and of course she didn't. There was this little line in season 5 I caught on the rewatch. Again, it's a little blink and you miss a line, but I think it's really telling. It's a joke, but here I think we've made it a kind of a serious question where it's like, basically she thinks having a child, raising a baby will make things easier, and like all the hustle and bustle of working in Hollywood. So that's in part why she adopted the child. And I love that we kind of raise the serious question here, where she kind of raises it to Gecko at the end of this. Like, do I love my baby, but do I really love? Like, was it a mistake to adopt this baby? And I think that's a valid question of, like, in some people think children make things easier. It's a thing we're kind of addressing here. Like, was it a mistake that she went out of her way to get this baby in a kind of hustle and bustle life? Like, were her eyes bigger than her stomach in the case of hungering for motherhood?
Yeah, you're right, Dragon. There's just some really big, powerful themes this episode is exploring, and it's doing it in a really visually interesting way.
Not only does she have the baby, she has a porcupine. So like every time she holds this shell, she has to have like mittens and all sorts of stuff.
What the episode did was it did a good job making me like kind of like suspenseful of like, oh God, what's she gonna, is she gonna do something terrible? Is she gonna like forget her or something like that? It did kind of like like especially like the moments where she's like falling asleep and then waking back up. It does a great job of putting you in that mindset.
Oh yeah. Of course, Todd. Again, we're kind of building up to the point where I love how Todd is kind of the Jason Mewes with this kid, where he's very much kind of the caretaker of this child. And of course, Todd is some wonderful Todd-isms we get this season. I love Todd Day. I don't know why. It's just simple. It just cracked me up so much. Todd Day.
Oh, Aaron Paul just always delivers on the Todd, man.
That's what I'm saying. It just doesn't take much, but Todd he's a slam dunk that Chavez. Anywho, so of course, let's see. The other things we kind of put into play this episode by all connected to Princess Carolyn very appropriately. Of course, as you mentioned, we have the great visual motif of basically seeing everything she does, like the multiple Princess Carolyns. That's really great. Birthday Dad. So let's talk about Birthday Dad for a second.
Yeah, Birthday Dad is a pretty fun runner throughout, like, God, how many seasons have we had that now?
Well, I know we put it in play last season, like it was mentioned, Peanut Butter, he mentioned the idea for Birthday Dad. I don't know if it was mentioned before that, at least I can't recall. I only know is we set it up last season.
So yeah, now it's coming into play, and it's just like a ridiculously melodramatic action movie.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's not even an action movie. Remember, it's kind of like a Quantum Leap meets Hallmark sort of thing, where basically he makes a difference on everyone's birthday. Who I believe, if I'm remembering it correctly, it's that anyone who's had a father that passed away, he shows up on their birthday to be their birthday dad. I believe that's the case. I believe it's the premise. Point being, some ridiculous like that.
Ridiculous.
And of course, we have Peanut. While this is happening, while basically they're making the pilot, which of course kind of fills in the things later on. So Peanut Butter, he has mounting guilt over he's mounting guilt over cheating on Pickles with Diane.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, which again I think serves Mr. Peanut Butter right. Honestly, it does. I mean, no. Anyway, so of course, he's processing that. He's very self-conscious about it. He's being made to look so good in Hollywood these days when really he just feels really bad about himself. But again, he'll get away with it scot-free because, again, Hollywood. So let's see. So, of course, all of this leads to the untitled. We have this great misunderstanding through Todd Day about the untitled Princess Carolyn project, which basically this is hysterical what Todd does here. Todd is asked to look after the baby, and what has happened. Oh God! Is that Todd kept going to these meetings because again he really moved up the entertainment industry. He failed upwards, and I love because it is a saying, failing upwards, and I love how it applies so perfectly to Todd because Todd does fail upwards constantly. And in last season, he became essentially owner and operator of a company for a while. Anyway, so of course he's getting all these meetings, and basically through his meetings, he says, "I gotta take care of the Princess Carolyn project," which of course leads to all these misunderstandings. Like, oh boy, again, because that's what it's like the untitled Pixar movie, that sort of thing. It's like the untitled this.
Exactly. Like everyone's like getting really excited about like, oh, I want to work on this untitled Princess Carolyn project.
Does it have legs? Yeah, 2 of them. It's like this whole baby misunderstanding.
Ooh, double the legs.
Basically, they're trying to fill the slot of like a new show because they canceled their other show. They got to fill with a new show. So basically,
it's a really fun, like kind of like inside baseball play on Hollywood lingo.
It is. I love they really milked that for the. I love that we didn't go the whole season with her being untitled. By the way, I love that we named the baby Ruthie finally. So we gave her a name, but still
perfect time where we milked the joke as long as we needed to.
And we got perfect mileage out of it. Where again, it leads to this misunderstanding, kind of Frasier-esque misunderstanding. Very good. I gotta be honest, there is some Frasier-esque misunderstanding. Basically, this one and episode 4 are the most Frasier-esque episodes in that regard.
4 for sure, yeah.
4 is very Frasier-esque, and we'll get there. Anyway, so but regardless, so the point being, we have like the 2-season pickup thing. Like yeah, you pick her up and drop her off, yeah. Anyway, so Birthday Dad becomes a show that's been picked up for 2 seasons already out of the get-go. It got the boys, man. It got the boys.
The boys.
Okay, let's see. So what I love about all of this, though, is that Princess Carolyn, stressing out over everything, over balancing all these things as well as being a mother, when she took a step back, everything kind of worked out. Everything worked itself out. So that was kind of a nice little moral to the story there. It's kind of a nice reward for.
I love how her tongue twisters are what saved the day in the end with Ruthie. There's something so satisfying about that, Dragon.
Oh yeah,
because really her tongue twisters are like one of the most endearing things about her character.
They are. It's Amy Sedaris, man. I don't know how she does it, but just God bless her. Let's see. Some other stuff. So again, Miss Peanut Butter, of course. He's such a prick crashing Bojack's rehab because he can't tell Pickles that he just can't sack up and tell Pickles what he did. God. It's just the fact he's just crashing. But I don't know why. It always it's kind of the Curb Your Enthusiasm. They always feel weird when I'm on Larry David's side or when I'm on Bojack's side. In this case, it's like, oh man, like I feel Bojack's feeling like Peanut Butter's crashing your rehab. You're trying to heal, man. This guy's sucking up all the attention, distracting. That's not right. Now here's the gopher. Here's the worst thing with the gopher does this season. Okay. So Princess Carolyn comes in. Of course, there's a misunderstanding at play here. She has all the pinprick suits. Her baby's needles and stuff. That whole thing. She walks in very, very tired, looking for Bojack and Miss Peanut Butter and the whole shebang there. That gopher he basically takes her and says, "Okay, let's sit you down here. Let's sit you down and give you some tea." And as he does it, he steals her credit card and so he charges her $100,000.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Fuck that gopher.
You didn't notice that, did you?
No, I didn't.
That's what I'm saying. So he just keeps charging people $100,000, and again, just because an exhausted woman comes in, it literally steals it from her purse because she puts her purse there and it gets stolen from the purse.
Yeah, no, that gopher can go dad.
I told you, right? Okay. See, moving on. We already went through the Ruthie thing. Oh yeah, the really sweet moment with Bojack. Really. Fantastic moment between Carolyn and Bojack, where Bojack, we see her. I love her. I love how maternal she was last season, and calling it back this season. How maternal she is of Bojack, which shows you that she does have the chops to be a good mom. Where she's very much like I would have come. It's just adorable. It's so nice and refreshing. I love the moral she gets about how to take care of a child. Where it's like basically take care of her like she was one of your clients. You don't love every one of your clients, but you'll go to the ends of the earth for them. Of course, a little bit of a family parallel with the client. Really nice.
Right.
And Ruthie, in case you forgot, Ruthie was the name of the fictional child during that whole miscarriage episode.
I mean, I didn't forget. Maybe you're just telling the audience generally.
Well, yeah, I was kind of trying to reach kind of two birds, one stone that because I don't know if you fully remember, but yeah.
I'm just acknowledging I did not forget.
Don't get old Judah on me, man. Let's go.
Don't you bad talk Judah.
I'm not. No. I love Judah, man. I'm just saying you're sounding a lot like Judah right now, man. Don't give me the whole semantical. Anyway, let's move on. Next episode.
Okay, feel good story. This is the Diane-centric episode where she moves to Chicago, or at least wants to move to Chicago.
Because she's gonna make it after all. Da, 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 da.
We have to talk about Guy. Guy is probably the most important character that gets introduced this season. What are your thoughts on him?
I liked Guy. He was a nice guy.
I mean, I think that's kind of the joke, right? His name kind of describes him. He's just a guy,
I'll be honest though. Still, by the end of the season, I'm still in the great as Guy is. Guy's a really nice guy. Good match, nice guy. However, I'm still of the mindset I have been ever since the beginning. I'm literally not trying to ship or anything here, but it's just I always felt like Diane kind of belongs at Bojack. You ever get that sense?
I don't know. This is another thing that you and I kind of disagree on.
I mean, I'm not championing it or anything. I'm just saying, character. I always feel like Diane, she has so much in common with Bojack. She kind of like the only two people that could be together. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't feel like that. I'm not saying they need to get together. I'm saying it feels like they're kind of the natural fit in this. She's constantly in contrast with this guy, literally guy, and she's. And and that's the thing. It's literally her whole, basically Diane's story with Guy, and just we bridge on a little bit more literally later on, but we have it here as well. Where basically Diane is not allowing herself to feel good. She's not allowing herself to feel good in life. Which of course is kind of what Bojack. Basically, the broad spectrum. Diane and Bojack are very interesting in that Diane's the one who convinced him to go to rehab, and of course, Bojack on the healing path and everything. But in this season, Bojack has to encourage that within herself. So that's very interesting. It's very kind of full circle in that regard.
But I mean, honestly, that whole thing is kind of why I don't think him and Diane are meant to be together. I think they're meant to help push each other along. But I think Bojack's whole arc in at least the first couple seasons was kind of like, getting over his like instant, like, kind of falling for Diane. You know what I mean? And kind of like seeing her as a person more than just kind of like an object to be fawned over.
That's fair enough, I guess.
I don't know.
Well, again, I'm not like burning a candle for it or anything. I'm just saying, like, that always kind of made sense to me. But again, the point being, they're good friends. I'm not really pushing beyond that. Just, I'm just, anyways.
I'm shipping for Bojack to end up with no one, if I'm being honest.
Well, again, I'm saying it's probably what's going to happen. If I'm being, honestly, that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying, if he were with anyone, the only logical one I could see, because every other relationship's been a disaster, would probably be Diane. Because Diane's essentially, she's as miserable as he is.
I'm shipping Diane and Guy. All right, Diane deserves a nice guy. Guy's stable.
But I'm saying, does she? That's what I'm saying, though. I mean. When you really think about it, does she deserve Guy? Because Guy gets her a nice coat, and this is the big thing of the episode. You circle back to the episode here. So it's the thing where again, like one of the big the visual symbols here is that Diane won't buy herself a coat that she needs when it's really cold in Chicago. Guy buys her that coat, yet she won't allow herself. He keeps thinking there's a motive behind it. She's just thinking like she won't accept the coat. She won't just allow herself to be comfortable, to allow herself to feel good. And again, she's finding all these reasons to be unhappy.
I mean, honestly, Dragon, I think she deserves someone who's trying to make her happy because I think it's a relatable depiction of depression. So,
I mean, that's fair. Again, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I see it a smidge differently, but it's fair.
All
right. But let's talk about the real star of this episode, man. Screw Diane, screw Guy. Let's talk about the real star of this episode, man. Let's talk about the whale of a star, one could say.
Oh my God, I love this guy's design. Of course, the voice actor is just a perfect match made in heaven casting choice.
The white whale.
Oh, God.
And we ain't talking Ahab, folks.
We're legally allowed to murder Diane.
So the wonderful Stephen Root, of course, of Barry fame, and of course, King of the Hill, Office Space. Take your pick. Can't go wrong. So of course, I got to tell you, the whale designs, they've gotten better because the design always bothered me. The whale anchor from they had the whale anchor way back in the beginning. I think he's kind of tapered off over the. Well, he was there last season with the whole Vince.
No, I agree though. I never really liked his design. I hear you.
One of the designs only works from the side, and they finally figured that out because every time you saw him, every time he shifted in his seat, he always looked off. And it's like it's called the 3/4 effect in animation. Where it's like when I used to know back when Family Guy was good, they used to pay attention to that sort of thing. Where again, if Peter was looking at you from a certain angle, it would look off. That's why every time they crack the code on, so every time he looks forward, he's at 3/4, as in his head's perpetually turned.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, when Family Guy lost the quality control, then it was like, they didn't care. Sometimes he turned, he had a weird face. It just doesn't matter.
It's just kind of like we don't care.
Exactly. But guys. Anyways, but yeah, so White Whale, of course, just essentially what we're commenting on White Whale and this the whole conglomeration is that.
So gleefully power hungry. And he's just, he has so much fun with being power hungry.
There's no again, if the season's about consequence, this guy has no consequence whatsoever.
Oh, God.
We're also commenting on the whole kind of Disney becoming the superpower, how companies are buying other companies these days, and of course we just go through I can't even dream to say it, but we had Disney, Coca-Cola, basically kind of made the extrapolation of where we're probably heading. But what if Disney were bought out by this white whale company? In a sense, it's kind of what we're saying. So we have this really telling one. Now there are 4. How many companies are there now? 4? Basically, there are 4 companies. We're heading to the direction where there's only 4 companies in the world. Probably 3.
Honestly, that's kind of where we're going, man.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Disney, Universal. I mean, those are what? Like Warner, yeah, sure. Those are kind of the big 3. Paramount's kind of trailing behind.
Paramount's not going to stick around. I'll tell you one thing, man. Paramount's the one that feels like it's going to go the way of MGM.
Well, MGM is kind of like scraping by on its last knees with like Adam's Family and James Bond.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, after James, I don't think I'd like to say James. I like to be optimistic. James Bond's never going away, but what do I know? You know, I don't know.
Honestly, I could see James Bond going to HBO.
Oh God. Anyway,
because it's like everything's going to HBO.
Okay. Anyway, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Point being, companies are buying up.
Bojack Horseman season 6 part 2 is going to the HBO, Diane.
So of course,
we'll be having another paywall.
I think my favorite delivery on the rewatch is like, "Really, Diane." Really, Diane? She keeps questioning semantics. Really, that's not the real reason we love. Oh, so again, we talked about the character reasons why White Whale is great. Again, it's just a great character design. It's a whale with a mustache. You can't go wrong. We basically turned the old Ahab story into we apply it to real life here. I love we had like this. We learned how he made his fortune with like a little short film. They had like different animation styles. They had look kind of Cuphead-esque in the animation. We had. Let's see, we had Vert and Ollie as in vertical and kind of like oligarchical. Well, not oligarchical, but you know what I mean. Point is like it's the idea like you buy and sell the product that you're making. Therefore, you have a commodity. You're a one-stop shop. Therefore, you can buy at other companies. That's the short of it. We have let's see. Anyway, so the point being, we just have this fantastic just realization that as someone has died under the White Whale corporate conglomeration. It's like a small factory. Basically, Diane and Guy, they're working for Krush. The Krush, man. They're working for Krush, and of course, Krush is like one of those trendy blogger sites in Hollywood. And basically, they're kind of doing these before they did feel good. Before they were told to do a feel good story now and again, they were doing the big expose pieces, like the world's a mud ball, and here's why. That sort of stories, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like we're all doomed. Let's publicize it, that sort of thing. Anywho, so of course, you know that we get to the point where they're following up on White. Basically, they have one story because now they've been bought out by White Whale. So that means they can't do any more of their investigative journalism. So they have one story left. So let's investigate on White Whale, at least before we're told like we can't do these sorts of stories. So investigate, and they find, and they confront him with the interview, and he's onto what they're doing. So they record the little sit down where they're going to confront him with all this stuff. And what happens?
He murders someone. I forget exactly.
Well, again, the murder they're following up is someone was killed at a factory. Someone basically seemingly fell to their death. And we were right. How do you feel about his death?
Basically, White Whale is just kind of like, oh, this is going to bring us a lot of publicity, and basically saying like it's like any publicity is good publicity, and like sure, he'll go ahead and allow it to be published, but you know what? It's not going to make any sort of difference. And then he reveals that murder is legal for billionaires, Diane.
It's just so one again is the fact he didn't even need to say since someone died. There was no murder in question. They weren't investigating a murder. They were investigating someone died on the company's right. It's just, oh yeah, I killed him. Wait, what?
I killed him.
And then it just escalates into this whole thing of like we learn it very much like the gun control thing. The idea is like women should have gun rights or something, which then led to guns are banned. Essentially, that was kind of the way. That was kind of the gag. I think in season 4 they made that joke or something. And it's exactly another legislation joke. Right? People won't. Basically, the world Congress basically lawmakers won't change, things won't change unless things are going to get complicated in the world. Then things will change. Give women guns, no more guns, that sort of thing. We're very short-sighted. In this case, it's like billionaires can now murder people. When you make $1 billion, Diane, you can murder me too. Of course, basically, she's following up on this. Like, wait, surely the legislators wouldn't really Diane. It really isn't. It's really Diane. I don't know. It's really funny. So, okay, off the White Whale stuff because we go on with like really Diane for about an hour. But let's not do that. Let's talk about the framing device of Bojack's letter.
Yeah. It was nice it was used as like the framing device of the trailer, so we knew it was going to be in there. It was a nice way to incorporate Will Arnett without really having to focus too much time on Bojack. Kind of get updated on his story.
Where's Beverly stealing a snack kit? Not cool. I love the most ridiculous thing, and there's the whole Beverly. He wrote BH on his lunch so it wouldn't be stolen. Essentially, and she read it as Beverly. Here you go. Like, really? Here you go. Where do you get here? You go? I love that he's ranting in the letter. That's what cracks me up. He wrote down the rant anyway. So basically, the moral is, don't waste your. At the end, Bojack, basically the big trailer lines like, "Don't." I wasted for years. I wasted my life being miserable, because I thought it was the only way. And that's the wake-up call of Diane, where you don't have to be miserable. Therefore, she goes to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, she's planning on going to Chicago with guys. She's not there yet, but she's planning to. She goes there a little bit later in the episodes. I think after the next one. So speaking of which, let's get to the next one.
Okay, season 6, episode 4, surprise!
So this isn't my runner-up for my favorite. Man, it's between 1 and 4 for me, honestly. These are probably 1's still going to be my favorite. 4 is great, though.
Honestly, I see why 1's your favorite. I do, but this is my favorite because, man, just the framing device and the animation and just the pacing and humor. It's all so on point. It's the show at its peak, man. This show, when it gets experimental and when it really wants to do like a one-off story in a really interesting way, this is the way to do it. I love stuff like this.
You know what this reminds? I keep using the Frasier analogy because, again, misunderstanding comedy. When I think of the best misunderstanding comedy, it's going to be Frasier these days. But I tell you, there's a really great episode of Frasier where basically Niles is proposing, and Frasier. Basically, his proposal, he basically canned the proposal because the woman he's about to propose to is sick, and is like, okay, no, I can't do it tonight, so let's do a different night. Basically, all these people are at the ready, and I want to say Frasier was surprising him with the proposal plans. Like, he said not that. The point being, is a miscommunication, and then all these people are hidden throughout the apartment, and they have to escape. The course of while Niles and the proposee are not paying attention. It's hysterical.
Okay, what season is that?
I want to say, God, I have to get back to you. I want to say it's 8.
That sounds really delightful. I have to look into that.
It's season 7 or 8. I want to say 7, but I think Smart Money is going to put it 8. Anyway, point being, I get it.
Okay.
I'll get back to you on that, on the specific number. Anyway, but yeah, this episode, though. So again, you can see the similarities.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So this is brilliantly staged. Of course, this is Peanut Butter. Honestly, Miss Peanut Butter keeps getting the presentationally appealing episodes, and you really think about it. It gets like there with the 4. It gets the booze, Mr. Peanut Butter's booze.
Yeah. Right.
The 4 timelines simultaneously, and he gets this one. It was a bad episode, but he got the talk show thing. It gets all the presentationally appealing episodes. So this one, everyone's about to surprise Miss Peanut Butter with a wedding. A surprise wedding. What a novel concept.
God.
Rather give him a surprise wedding, and basically as they walk through the door, Miss Peanut Butter's dropped the bombshell on her that he had an affair. He's cheated on her, and everyone. I love as they jumped up to say "surprise, son." They all duck down, and they're stuck. And again, so basically taking that Frasier episode, like the Frasier episode, the third act of the episode is that whole Frasier premise. It's like, what if we did that from the start of the episode? That's awesome.
God, and the blocking is just so fantastic, Dragon. There's so many different characters, and oh my God. And
it's like, what if so we had Peanut Butter's in a smart house. Miss Peanut Butter's in a smart house, essentially, like a fancy Hollywood, very voice activated, that sort of thing. And we just. It's like, what if all these people were hiding so badly, too? They're hiding, and they're also hiding so badly. We're in the house of the densest couple to ever walk the land. The 2 densest people who ever met each other. That's essentially neither of them are picking up on the fact that people are very obviously literally looking him in the face. When the most ridiculous is Peanut Butter's brother, Captain Peanut Butter. He's in a photo with his wife. And they're holding the photos up, just looking at him to suggest, stay like, hey, look, here's my brother. And of course, not realizing his brother's like on the other side of an empty frame, just standing up. Just what a dope. So essentially, Bojack is in rehab for almost the entirety of the season. But this is kind of like a little cheat in that Bojack he's still in rehab, but he's kind of outside the rehab with a sober companion. I love his sober companion, by the way. I love Eduardo, the fainting goat.
Oh my god, yeah, I forgot about that. He's another great element of the episode.
Lord of the Fainting Goat is awesome, man.
He's just like so nervous that he's gonna crack.
Okay, tell me who's better, Eduardo the Fainting Goat or Greg, the guy Mr. Peanut Butter met at the gas station that one time?
Oh, I'm gonna have to go with Eduardo the Fainting Goat.
Yeah. Throw that out there.
He's just got like the fainting goat gimmick. I mean, that's memorable.
I love that Peanut Butter. He really dislikes Greg, though. I love that one. And can you see Greg's heartbroken expression? Like, oh. So, speaking of which, that's the great thing of this episode. So, of course, very heartbreaking occurrence is going on. Basically, as Peanut Butter and Pickles are working through their domestic dispute here. We have everybody react as they're talked about through the scene. We get to see their reactions to them being brought up in this heated conversation. I think the funniest one is Pickles' father.
I think it's Franco. As Mr. Peanut Butter is talking about Franco's anger issues,
he's got a pug complex.
Yeah, this little pug like.
And the mother too. He even throws the mother under the bus. And I hope the mother's like keeping the husband calm. And just like, oh god, it's just like, and of course, she just gets like a thrill out of it, like a sexual thrill out of it too. We're seeing him go off like that. It's so ridiculous. Let's see. I love this, but it's a smart joke on the road. I love Todd. Todd in this episode, he sent Peanut Butter and Pickles basically get ready for the party. Sent them out to a play. He sent them to he sent them to Angels in America, which he interpreted to be Angels in the Outfield. Of course, apparently, I don't know if this is. I would hope this can't possibly be true. I'd be shocked if it was. Apparently, Angels in America, according to Todd, is a 6-hour play.
Yes, it's true. That's true.
Are you serious? A 6-hour play?
Yeah, that's true.
Angels in America, 6 hours.
Yes.
Color me shocked. All right, okay. I learned something today. Well, I'm glad to get that verified. If anyone was going to know,
very, very long show.
If anyone was going to know, I had a feeling it was going to be you. So now I know. Okay. Anywho, all right. Personally, I prefer Angels in the Outfield. Let's see that one go to Broadway. Anyway. Okay. Anyway, in all seriousness, you take the lead. Anything you want to talk about? No.
Okay. Let's see. Of course, we have the conversations going on between like Princess Carolyn and Bojack and Diane and everyone. Kind of like it's basically the one episode of the season where we have an excuse to get everyone in the cast in the same place at the same time, even though it's under ridiculous circumstances. So
and even then, they're not exactly, they're in the same place, but again, they're not interacting with each other. Like, you have Bojack and Diane, like they're screwed up, but they don't interact with Todd and Princess Carolyn even.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course, throughout this whole thing, Pickles is, live streaming it, and it's kind of setting the stage for the public downfall that Peanut Butter is going to have to face.
Oh yeah, see, she's got this whole following, getting these hearts.
Also, I love how this episode kind of follows up on that one-off gag where Pickles calls Mr. Peanut Butter just Mister.
Yeah,
and it seems like she does that like kind of on a regular basis.
Oh yeah. So of course, I mean, I will say I'll give the episode points here absolutely. Where Peanut Butter and Pickles, they're working through adultery, I guess a grown-up way, so to speak. And the fact that, they're having a conversation about it. It's not just like she threw them out with the pots and pans. It's not like an Odd Couple thing.
Yeah, right.
They're having they keep flip-flopping what they want to do, which of course is play up for great comedic effect, mind you. And of course, their friends their friends do aid in the process, as we have this ridiculous thing where Diane and Bojack are like the are the thermos and the I think it's the coffee maker or something. The point being, like they're smart items in the house, at least pretending to be that. Of course, the Thunder Room being ridiculous. Of course, I'll break down the Thunder Room for a hot second here. Okay, the Thunder Room is so ridiculous. The Thunder Room is a room where Mr. Peanut Butter, being a dog, every time it thunders out, he goes in there like it's like a panic room.
Oh my god!
And of course, we have this beautiful sad gag with Eduardo where it has like an arrow pointing like, stay calm, and then of course it points this other arrow on the opposite side, drink. Stay calm and drink. Like, oh, of course, it's poor Eduardo. Of course, Bojack going back for Eduardo. Of course, like by the end of it, the cat's out of the bag, the whole thing. Anyway, episode 4, really good one.
All right, episode 5, a little uneven is all. This isn't my favorite one, Dragon. I feel like with this, it's a lot of setup for the last half of the first half. God, semantics. But,
see, this A-B thing's just gonna piss me off, man. It's just like, come on, why can't
But you know what I mean? It's like it's a setup for the last 3 episodes of this half.
Yeah,
like we get stuff like the assistant strike is put into play. I believe this is where we get the start of the Dr. Champ storyline that's going to be followed up on next episode. So basically, this episode is kind of a lot of like putting things into play that are going to pay off later. So because of that, I don't really feel like it's got all that strong of a push on its own. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, the thing that strikes me most about this episode, hence the namesake of the episode, the flashback is really haunting to me. The flashbacks are really, to me, that's the most interesting part of episode 5, where, again, this is we continue the consequence to actions theme of the season here. We meet Danny Bananas.
God.
So Danny Bananas is, here's what's great about Danny Bananas. I know you didn't pick up on this, but let me tell you something about special. There's something special about Danny Bananas.
Okay.
Danny Bananas is voiced by Philip Rosenthal. Now, Rosenthal, he's one of the great showrunners. I mean, let me call it. He's kind of like he's like a student of Norman Lear, so to speak. This guy was he's the showrunner for Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh, all right.
And a really cool guy. He did this documentary called Exporting Raymond, where it's about when Raymond's taken over Russia to be adapted into a Russian sitcom. It's like, really, point being, I love Rosenthal, man. And he's not an actor. He's a showrunner. He's not really an actor. So the fact they got him to do the voice of a showrunner in this case was really great. But I love he's a very happy-go-lucky guy, as Philip J. Rosenthal is. But by the end, he does something really sinister.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of, it speaks to kind of like the two-faced nature of the Hollywood industry.
It was really chilling, especially knowing Rosenthal. Because I thought, when I heard, it's like, I know this voice. Who is this guy? And I thought about it. It has to be Rosenthal. It can't be anyone else. It's gotta be. And then of course
either Rosenthal or like Corey Burton. My God, you can imitate anyone.
It's always Burton, man. It's always Burton.
Right.
But anyways, seriously, let's foreshadow. We get a lot of setup with again Bojack's choices in hurting those. Basically, all of Bojack's choices hurt those around him, which of course is going to have a huge payoff by the end of the season, as well as by the end of this episode here, where of course basically the big question of season 5, the best setup question of season 5 going into this season was, what if I'm just as bad sober? So the paraphrase is like, what if even when I'm sober, what if I'm just as miserable as I am now? So that's the big challenge season 6 has to answer. That's the last question we have to ask in the series. Like, is Bojack going to be actually cured when he's sober? Is he going to be better when sober? Or is he just going to be kind of as bad as, or things going to be as bad as they were?
Mm-hmm.
And again, we're kind of looking at that here, where again Bojack, he's making the choice not to. Bojack was being very just kind of like. In that flashback, of course, he left the water bottle full of vodka out, and of course, Sarah Lynn got into it, and that kind of, one could argue, that kind of sets her down the path of things going south for her.
I mean, it sets her down the path, but it also kind of like propels Sharona's rock bottom. It's like Sharona was heading towards a rock bottom, anyways, but that incident basically gave her a one-way pass there.
It did. However, in all fairness, and this is the interesting thing we have in the season when you really look at it. In all fairness, she kind of, we know for a fact she didn't start Bojack down the path, but still, in adulthood, she triggered it.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be really fascinating if you really look at those incidents in Bojack's past. Like, what if they were just isolated incidents, but then when we get to when we get the horse around, then it becomes a problem.
I mean, yeah, I think that's basically what we're meant to take it as. I'm not sure.
And the high school thing leaves up in the air. Like, sometimes people drink.
Well, the high school thing was basically kind of like about social performance.
Yeah.
Then the Hollywood thing obviously was about kind of stage performance.
Like he's taking you on the job versus like in these social and parties, and then just doing it on the job. Basically, he's lacking the professionalism when he does it on the job. That's kind of what we're doing here. Where Bojack again. This is after the whole Heard Kazaz thing. That's why they're bringing in new showrunners. This is the aftermath of the whole Kazaz affair, and the Kazaz affair is very big on Bojack because he never got forgiveness from Kazaz. Of course, the one.
Yeah, and I love how in these flashbacks, Bojack is clearly haunted about having to throw Herb under the bus. Like we see that wound is like very fresh in his head.
And he took it out on Sarah Lynn by just kind of like snapping at her for a moment. In that moment, again, he didn't intend to, but again, Sarah Lynn, of course, she took that.
Well, now keep in mind, this is far from the darkest thing he said to a young Sarah Lynn at this point in the show.
You're right. I'm just saying this didn't help. And the point being, like we mirror again, young Bojack taking the swig out of the vodka. Now he's kind of passed on his own issues onto her.
Right.
That's kind of the takeaway there. All right. Also, it's the same. Never mind. Sorry, I forgot to. Wrong thing. I was going to say something else anyway.
Well, I like how the kind of like explains how we get the the stars in the vodka bottle. How that connects. That's good symbolic connective tissue.
Yeah, again, that enduring theme of the season. All right, okay. Peanut butter becomes a meat. Becomes a theme as he essentially becomes the face for depression here, where he kind of be. He basically walks and he's pushed in front of a very slow moving car. Taken as
first of all, I bet it was let's not skip over the fact that for half an episode he does get a public comeuppance. I bet I bet you were thrilled about that.
I was. All the women on the set hate him, and they're throwing coffee at him, and
I like that. And honestly, Dragon, I hate to admit it, but like we'll see where it's going with the whole, with the face of depression thing, and it is consistent with Peanut Butter as as a character, because this guy does just have annoyingly, stupidly dumb good luck.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of wish we would have kept Peanut Butter on that like road to to kind of becoming a public outcast. I feel like that would have been actual growth for him. Now with the depression thing, I don't really feel like he's learned anything. That kind of bothers me.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
It's like I feel like the only thing he's learned is like, oh boy, another get out of jail free card. Aren't things going my way?
That's what I'm saying. The cycle continues, man. So I'll take all those coffee throws I can get to all those all those women hating.
I don't know, man. It's I like we'll see how it goes. Of course, once again, this is another sort of product of like. In the last 8 episodes, they could do something really mind-blowing with it, and by the end, he really is depressed or something like that. We'll see how they handle it. But
here's something that's gonna. I hope they drop this by the time we get to the next 8, because I really hate the pickles thing going forward. I hate this whole. I hate the dumb like pickles.
Ooh, I have a theory about that. I want to hold off on that because I do think that that's going to tie into something with Bojack.
Well, can I say what in the episode what I don't like about it?
Yeah, sure. I don't really like it either. Okay, I'm just saying that I do think basically it doesn't really feel all that relevant, but I do think I have a theory for how it could be relevant. But we'll get there when we get to
We'll definitely get there. Well, basically, okay. I hate this whole she's cheating out of love. She's trying to pass things over Peanut Butter. She's going to cheat for revenge, but basically cheat to get even so they can move past it. But it's like we just keep checking with so Pickles is constantly sleeping with strange men to form an attachment like Peanut Butter. It's like why? Just why are we still doing this? I don't know.
But none of these men are my mister. That's
what I'm saying. It's just so weird. Like, come on, guys. You built up so much wonderful track, and we're doing stuff like this again. Come on.
Yeah. I think the Pickles sleeping around is probably the weakest element of the whole season.
Absolutely. They don't even know what they're saying with that, man. It's just they need something further to do. They need to check in with Peanut Butter.
Well, like I said, I have a theory.
Oh, yeah, you're right. We'll get there. So you're right. We'll get there. Maybe I'm missing something. Obviously, we'll get there.
Yeah.
All right. And of course, all the assistants walk out. There's a biggie. There's a big walkout, and of course, it's going to lead to again consequence being the operative theme. Assistants walk out.
From what I've heard, like everyone who watches the show who's in the Hollywood industry they could attest to the fact that, like, yeah, if the assistants walked out, it'd be a crisis.
Oh, you don't have to tell me, buddy. I know that. Of course, one real quick. Of course, the a little uneven of it all. Again, this is the chilling line where basically he's not saying it, but he's implying that your hair's a little uneven, saying you should throw it under the bus. As in, yeah, you even if I think I think Danny Bananas suspects that Bojack's lying there about giving her the vodka. So again, Sharona, you should throw her under the bus, which is, oh god, it's just horrible.
I mean, especially right after he threw her under the bus.
Yeah, man, it's sad. All right, that brings us to 6.
All right, episode 6, the kidney stays in the picture.
You know something funny? That constantly, every kidney episode uses that title. I'm not joking. Almost every show that has a kidney episode uses that, or like a very slight variation. It's usually kidney picture is always the kidney stays in the picture.
The last kidney picture show.
What I'm saying, it's always like the kidney. It's either and the kidney stays in the picture. The kidney stays like. Why do we constantly? We really can't come up with any better kidney.
Butch Cassidy and the Kidney Kid.
No, it's Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kidney.
Oh God. Yeah, you're right. Sundance Kidney. Oh God. All right. This is a good episode. I think the best part of it is the stuff with Dr. Champ. Although the Todd stuff is really good too. We finally meet Todd's stepfather, and we see why his last name is Chavez. So what do you think of this guy?
I love this story with Todd, man. I do. I got to tell you, it's maybe a little out there in the realms of ridiculousness, but I mean, it's Todd.
But it's fitting with Todd, yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, let me just go over the premise of this Todd story, if I may, for a mere moment. Okay, it's the fact that Todd's mother needs a kidney, which is not a laughing matter. Todd's mother needs a kidney. So you go to the family, which you tend to do if they're a match, which usually the same bloodline, going to be a match. So Todd's stepfather, they've been estranged for a long while, roughly 10 years, goes there checking on Todd. Your mother needs a kidney. Before he doesn't leave with that, of course, he's asking. We learn Todd would love to give his kidney, but he can't. And he can't do that because he sold one of his kidneys for sock puppets. And let me be very specific. Not just for sock puppets, so we can pull on I don't know if it's just for this one performance, but again, he sold, as far as we can tell, he sold his kidney for sock puppets to put on a production of Brokeback Mountain.
Oh my god!
For an infant.
Wow.
That's not even his. Did you get all that? Anyway, there's a lot of ridiculous fun as well. There. So we meet Jorge Chavez, Todd's stepfather. Of course, gets the. Of course, remember Chavez stands for something. Just taking the old remember Chavez. Remember Chavez stood for something. Of course, he means that in the literal sense, where Chavez actually stands for something. Where it stands for. Let's see. It stands for cerebral. C for cerebral. H for high-minded. A for analytical. V for voracious. E for efficacious. Z for zealously practical. And listening skills. And S. God, it's ridiculous. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm sorry. I just want to kind of phone the name there. Anyway. So basically, they have a little misadventure together, and we kind of learn a lot about Todd here. Where you don't
get to see Todd and Diane interact as much, so that was nice to see. It's always nice to see characters who don't get a lot of screen time together get a storyline.
Yeah, I love that his father has poor listening skills. By the way, it's pretty funny.
But I also like that his father is an excellent liar.
He is. I mean, he's really great at the heist too. He's really clever, and then he's going to sneak in as like a janitor with basically. I love that. Essentially, Jorge Chavez he's an astute, clever man who's just basically he knows how society works, and he's kind of using that to his advantage. And again, you got to remember, Todd does have ambition. I think he'll never admit. I think Todd got a lot of his ambition from Jorge here. And again, we've seen the ambition where Todd's always come up with ideas, and now we have like a little kind of spoke to the wheel at it. Where okay. a reason Todd has all these business ideas is because he's trying to live up to, in some sense, he's not trying to please this guy, but in some sense, he was groomed to be the next, entrepreneur. He was groomed to be the next, like, Jorge Chavez. And he didn't. That's why he keeps trying and he keeps failing. That's probably what alienated him from the stepfather, would be my guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. Basically, his stepfather is so harsh on him because, the world is a mean place. And I love this is where you love with the Todd character, man. It's where Todd's like, the world isn't mean. You didn't need to be mean. The world isn't mean. And then Todd, basically Todd has never seen himself as a failure. He's very content with himself. I think there's something so positive and nice about that, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the most, that's why Todd is one of my favorite characters in the show, is that he doesn't have the most diverse, like, storyline in terms of, a point A to point B narrative and character development, but he very much is just comfortable in his own skin, and there's something pretty inspirational about that.
Yeah, remember, we have this, I love Todd's likability. So again, we see he kind of proves a point to his stepfather in a sense here, where again, Todd's likability gets them the kidney. Remember, they're caught, they're dead to rights, they're caught by the guard, and he walks up there as like they're still from White Whale Incorporated, from the White Whale kind of chain, I guess. There's this whole room full of kidneys. And he's like, the White Whale's buying these kidneys on the black market, basically taking donations from hospitals, essentially, just like stockpile all the kidneys. It's ridiculous. Anyways, I just love this. They're caught, and then the Todd says, well, it has all these kidneys, and I thought I won't miss one. Oh, you little scamp. Get out of here.
Oh, God.
I love the little scamp, pats him on the head, and it's like, it's adorable. It's like, yeah, and his likability is what got him off, and it's a really, it's also a really poignant thing where Todd, he's not going to see his mother. He gets her the kidney, but he's not going to see her.
I love. That is really realistic, Dragon. That, as you know, I've had some issues with my own mother as of late, and that was just a super realistic moment for me. That almost cut deeper than anything else in the season for me, to tell you the truth.
And you know what? Look, I won't raise it to those stakes, but I'll raise it halfway of those stakes in light of the season. I think there's a lot to be said. Some people should get back to you more. That's the thing. Like Todd makes the very, very relatable point that, you know what, they didn't reach out to him.
Exactly. And
I think that says something. Where she didn't reach out for him for 10 years. She made the first move. He doesn't have to see her. All right. Let's see. Of course, the assistant strike. So Hollywood begins to crumble. Literally on fire. Oh, right. Sorry. Anyway, so Hollywood begins
to... God. Oh, California's burning, folks. Luckily, my area is pretty contained right now, Dragon. Thankfully, honestly, I think Southern California has it a little bit worse than us right now.
At least I think it was raining in Hollywood, so at least there's something there.
Could be.
Anyway, Hollywood.
Very poor choice of words.
Yeah. I don't realize that. Yeah. Sorry, Hollywood. Sorry, California. Hey, my apologies. Anyway, so PC has a solution. Good old Princess Carolyn. She got a solution, thanks to her developing a conscience. Because we have this really haunting flashback. Remember, she's basically working under a scummy boss. Who basically, I love that we're not being so on the nose about it, but we are kind of being on the nose about it. We're not being messagey about it. Carolyn's being told like she has to come to work in a bikini and all that sort of stuff. She's really chauvinistic kind of guy, and I love that kind of like she just takes him over like, oh no, I gotta fix the the wording here. It was literally a really hysterical Billy Bob Thornton runner with J.K. Simmons. Again, I like to think thanks to the motherhood, she's grown a conscience. That's my little headcanon. I like to think motherhood's kind of given her more of a conscience in the business, which is good for her.
I would think so. That only makes sense.
So anyway, let's talk about the big thing from the episode here. Let's talk about it again. I know Todd's kind of like the title sake and the namesake. It's all very Todd related.
Wait. Do we get the return this episode, or is that next episode?
So, I was going to talk about the Dr. Champ stuff.
No, I know, but like with the Princess Carolyn, the character that.
Oh no, that's back. Next. He hasn't returned yet. It's next episode.
Okay. Just checking.
I don't believe you. You think I would miss that guy?
Okay.
Anyway, says let's talk about Dr. Champ. So again, Dr. Champ, the last episode, the end of the
Let's
last
set the
episode.
stage for Dr. Champ because we kind of skipped over him.
We did. So essentially, at the end of last episode, Bojack, again, the big theme of the episode, which again we really missed missed something big. Okay, so at the end of 5,
I'm trying to talk through 8 really dense episodes, folks. So I apologize.
Okay, so important. The big payoff of 5, with all the flashbacks and everything in the present, is again, Bojack's choices are hurting those around him, and that Bojack doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to leave rehab. Basically, he's being told by Dr. Champ, "You're ready. He has faith in Bojack that you're done rehab. He's done it a couple times at this point. He's basically finding he's been sticking around. He's been, again, it's a lot of $100,000, by the way, folks. Anyway, so he's being told that he can leave, but then Bojack gets wind of Joey Pogo is coming by the rehab, and he needs the big suite that Bojack is in. So again, this coats the whole rehab thing to me, which again, I love that rehab is seen in a very realistic kind of dubious light. You never hear of it. Everyone talks about, oh, rehab's a godsend, man. Rehab,
Yeah.
Oh, good. We're pointing out.
Well,
Again,
we love it. I love how we show both the pros and cons of it.
Exactly.
We show it for kind of like the industry that it shouldn't be, but we also show that, it did help Bojack in his way, and it does help a lot of people. So
I mean, consider this. So we're Dr. Champ. I like to believe Dr. Champ. He says Bojack is ready, and we, the audience, would like to think, oh man, Bojack might be ready. He hasn't drank anything. He seems to be a little bit more thoughtful about things. He's growing. But then again, bigger celebrity comes in who needs the room, and it's like the hospital rule: you can't have people stay all the time because you need the room, you need the space.
Right.
So I'm not sure. And given the evidence of Dr. Champ's technically not a real doctor, and that we have
that's going to come into play with my speculation because they very much make a point of saying that. They very much make a point of saying it's a legally distinct. It's a legal distinction. Underline the word legal.
He did literally say underline it too. God. So we have that. We have characters like that Gopher who's just stealing money and everything. We have we have stuff like this. It makes you clouds the rehab and is Dr. Champ really looking out for his best interests? There's a little bit of a dubious nature with Dr. Champ to an extent.
There is for sure.
He seems like a nice guy, but still, does he have his best interests at heart? That's the real question. Anyways, the point is Bojack, he wants rehab because again, it's a part of it's. I love that as much as the literal addiction that he's getting over, the addiction to Hollywood and the namesake and the fame is the one that still maintains itself, and that he wants things that are entitled to him, his name, his, He wants the big room, and basically his whole goal this episode was to stay in the rehab, which again was what led to the flashbacks. And the point of all these flashbacks is he says, okay, I want to stay in rehab. I got to drink the big. It's like now this one literally is it's the Chekhov's gun, right? This has to be the Chekhov's gun.
What the vodka bottle?
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Point being, so he goes for the Chekhov's vodka bottle, if you will. He begins to take a swig, spits it out, and says, "What am I doing?" He tosses out the window, which leads to a comedy of errors. Sort. Basically, it leads to the moment from the Incredible Hulk with the blood, where basically the water bottle falls into the sea of other water bottles, and he's frantically telling people, "Don't drink the water bottle!" And of course, it's too late. Dr. Champ is drunk like this whole thing of vodka, and basically Bojack is hunkering him down, keeping him in his room to keep him contained so he doesn't embarrass himself, and have this really haunting ending where again all comes to play. Bojack got what he wanted. Now he gets to stay in the rehab as Dr. Champ's very reassuring, saying, "Stay, Bojack, please stay." As he's starting to panic, like, "Oh God, I'm falling off the wagon. I gotta stay here." It's just like, stay with me, Bojack. Thanks, stay with me. Of course, Bojack got what he wanted, but again at the cost of this poor man's sobriety.
Oh yeah.
Okay, episode 6, all the pertinent Dr. Champ stuff here. So, Dr. Champ, he's fallen off the wagon in a big way. One of the best running gags. We got to the big running gag of the season. How he gets out of the. So there's this episode of Horsing Around where Bojack, essentially, Bojack remembers something very important about Horsing Around. Basically, you can escape any room, essentially by tying the sheets together and shimmying out the window. Oh God! I love how it comes back. We just keep bringing it back. I'm surprised how practical this information is. But so Dr. Champ sneaks out of his room in the morning, and then of course we learned he didn't just go home to change clothes and sober up. Dr. Champ has been getting schlockered, and Dr. Champ's in a really bad way. So Bojack is kind of keeping him company. As apropos, he's become the sober companion. And Dr. Champ hunkers him down there, and Bojack confronts him. You've just been giving me kind of passive sayings, and again, as he stresses, not a doctor. Which, by the way, it's funny. Mike Schur's company, the guy who does Brooklyn Nine-Nine and worked on The Office. That guy, his production company. At the end of every episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, there's this little card that pops up, and you hear a voice say, "Not a doctor."
Huh.
Little fun fact. Sorry. Point is not a doctor, but again, if you wouldn't be accepting to real therapy, and he drops some real therapy on him. What is that real therapy?
Oh God, Dragon, I'm sorry, I binged the whole thing all at once.
All right. Point being, the real therapy is you hurt people who care about you, but importantly, this is a really trippy. I'm so impressed they went here. By the way, the fact that it's real. They went real therapy with it here, where he wants to seek he has trauma with horses. So literally, every time he looks in the mirror, obviously there's a little bit of so there's obviously some self-reflection there. More importantly, there's some self-loathing, there's some hatred, there's some regrets. But again, all the people in his life that have done the most harm to him have all been horses. He's tried to, every time he sees a male horse, he's trying to impress him like his father.
I mean, it makes sense.
That's what I'm saying. It makes sense. I love that we kind of called it out here. Where you don't trust me because I'm a horse.
Yeah.
That's kind of neat. Of course, Bojack, this is what therapy is. I love his realization. This is what therapy is. That's great. So anyway, by the end, Dr. Champ does something really questionable to Bojack at the end of this episode.
Okay, what I love about this is that I feel like this is kind of a turning point where I think Bojack did everything in his power to make things right with Dr. Champ, and I don't even think that what happened to Dr. Champ was Bojack's fault. Sure, he had the bottle of vodka, but he confiscated it from someone who was actually going to drink it.
Yep.
And when he threw it out the window, it wasn't like he was throwing it out like, here, alcoholics, go nuts. It was like, obviously, it was kind of like a short-sighted, what am I doing? I need to get rid of this thing. And the bottle kind of symbolized his growth. So I really don't think Bojack's doing anything in the wrong throughout any of this. He's helping Dr. Champ. He's staying with him overnight. He's helping him through the bar and talking with him. And Dr. Champ just lays it all on the line. And Dragon, this is a very important turning point where for the first time in the series, someone gives Bojack kind of like that mental, that verbal beatdown that Bojack often gets. And it's unwarranted.
Absolutely.
That's a big turning point, and that's a big sort of mark in Bojack's character growth. And the fact that Bojack can see that, and I love the line. I fucking love the line. Yeah, I can see everything now. I'm sober.
But again, that chilling, the thing that prompts that is, I want you to remember what you did to me, Bojack. That's not a fair line, by the way. He shouldn't have said that to him.
No, none of it is fair.
That's what I'm saying. I love how late. That's the thing, T. I'm so glad you were very sympathetic on this Dr. Champ point, it appears. That's the thing. I love that he's basically, the revelation Bojack has is that, basically, if you want to heal, you're going to have to hold yourself accountable, which essentially Bojack does hold himself accountable for the thing that he blames himself for with that vodka bottle. And again, he's kind of very much looking after Dr. Champ, and he put Dr. Champ into a different rehab. So he didn't humiliate the guy. He put him in a different rehab. He's gone out of his way, did all of this. And again, Dr. Champ, again, speaking to this, the systemic thing with the rehab centers, Dr. Champ, Bojack literally called it out in the whole room that this girl was sneaking in vodka and water bottles. And did the rehab center check water bottles from that point forward? No, they didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
So that would have happened anyway. Again, she was going to sneak that bottle in if Bojack didn't catch that. So the point is that water bottle is going to make its way in there anyway. The point being, it was inevitable, and it was not fair to Bojack. But still, Bojack is taking the lesson away here. Absolutely, it's very deep stuff, really good stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay.
Episode 7, The Face of Depression.
This is another big episode too. Usually the penultimate episodes, and I know this is kind of, we're in the shaky part A, part B, penultimate territory here, but it's
I feel like this is a good sort of like penultimate plotting character episode.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that episode 15 of this season is going to be the big kind of like, like really ambitious structure episode.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm just saying that's probably
At
how
least
it's going to go.
Hope, though.
That's the thing, exactly. So let's see. So of course, 7 is very. It's a very.
I mean, this is a big episode, my friend. It really is. I mean, it's it's Bojack living a sober life and kind of and coming to grips with a lot of things and coming to grips with his age, and we see him with a new look with the gray hair and everything. There's a lot of changes going on with our main character. He's kind of going through a transformation.
Yeah, this is the cathartic and hopeful shake-up episode. That's very much what this one is. Where again, it's very much like, okay, you're rooting for Bojack. Bojack's finally out of the rehab after 6 episodes. He's out in the world.
By the way, I got to give credit to the show for really, really running that rehab storyline. They lesser shows would have been like, and he's out of rehab in like 2 or 3 episodes. Let's get the plot moving.
Yeah.
This season we had the rehab was really well used for self-reflection and character growth.
Absolutely. So the opening of this episode is really haunting to me. He returns to the house and we have all the choices.
Oh my god, yes.
All the ghost of Bojack's past terrible acts where he's like tossing like the babies, not live babies, folks, just tossing.
Okay, I gotta say that is one of the most disturbing scenes on a rewatch. Just the fucking haunted look on Beatrice's face, as if Beatrice in that moment really does think that Bojack killed her child. Yeah. Oh god.
Let's see. So of course, driving, and of course we have the lighter stuff like him just like recklessly driving. The opening title sequence where he drives the car into the pool.
Right.
Of course, him sleeping with Emily and breaking at the top. I slept with Emily. Him with the pill, looking for the pills and everything. You're like basically scaring the crap out of Gina. All that sort of stuff here. And it's really and basically this leads to him to kind of his exit from LA. So at least progressively, he's starting to exit. He leaves Hollywood, and eventually that leads them to kind of go globetrotting outside of LA. So again, the big thing that got put into play in episode 6 was again Bojack with his big kind of breakthrough in the therapy was, I have to destroy my old self and be held accountable, and basically go for again the healing process of it all outside of rehab. And that's kind of what we see put into play here. So, also I love when he drives by the Filbert posters. They're all like X'd out, and like it's like they're like never coming. It's never coming back. Like it's not gonna. I think I forget if it says like not gonna change or something like it's canceled and it's not gonna change.
Yeah.
It's very symbolic of Filbert. Basically, it's the challenge. Bojack's leaving something that is challenging. Say you're not going to change, and he's going the opposite direction of it, literally. Okay, so Bojack begins the healing travels, which starts with Sharona and AA.
Oh, this is some really good stuff. Yeah. I mean, I love how realistic it is that she doesn't want to approach him at first, but when she sees that he is genuinely regretful and sees that he's changed, she does open up to him. So that was a really good moment. Of course, like I said, Sharona is the character that kind of literally gives him his physical transformation.
She does. It's a poetic hairstyle, man. Poetic hairstyle for
I love it. I fucking love it. It makes us realize how much this character has grown from barfing up cotton candy at the start of the pilot episode.
I love that we literally stripped the Hollywood away from Bojack. All the worry about your appearance and everything, we stripped it away, and it looks good on him.
Oh, also one of the biggest moment of the whole series, I think, is Hollyhock just running up and hugging Bojack at the airport.
It's nice.
Of course, man, it's gonna get crushed by the time the cliffhanger rolls around. Let me tell you.
Oh, it is. Yes, it is. Oh boy. All right, let's see. Of course, I already mentioned that we have the switch of Bojack opening Diane's eyes, kind of like the way she did for him.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Yeah.
On there. Let's see. Princess. Oh, we have the. Let's talk about the reunion piece. Let's talk about the return, the epic return.
Remind me. Oh yeah. Oh my God, Judah. Yes. Oh, of course. Yeah.
So yes, Judah.
Fucking A, Judah. Yeah, after sitting all of season 5 out, the man, the myth, the legend. Oh God, Dragon Judah is such a cool concept for a character.
Was played by the wonderful Diedrich Bader. Man, I love Diedrich Bader. One of the most underrated Batman, by the way. People keep glazing over Diedrich Bader was an excellent Batman.
Yeah, like Judah is just like such a great kind of like embodiment of like the positive elements of Hollywood.
Yeah, like the
what little there are.
Yeah, the king of
like
the
professionalism.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, I love that Princess Carolyn, she's kind of respect. Not that she never, Judah went out on good terms. Princess Carolyn fired Judah. But again, Judah, he took it like a champ, man. Like, he didn't want to go, but he was going to accept it. He's everything you want him to be. So Judah left, but he came back when asked. He settled the terms. It's like, and again, the whole maternal sense, in a sense, Princess Carolyn is passing the torch to Judah to be the new Princess Carolyn.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, it's kind of what you're doing. She's his boss, but still, like she's she's kind of ascended to a different position now, where Judah's going to be managing the assistants and everything.
Yeah, that's a really nice compromise, I think.
It is, and he's looking out for the assistants' best and everything. It's wonderful.
Yeah. All right. Oh my God, we have the crossover Dragon.
Oh yeah, the crossover. So
I know you're not a peanut butter guy, but come on, tell me this didn't get to you a little bit.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm kind of like I had like a roller coaster on this thing. Okay, so here's the thing. So peanut butter, of course, we have peanut butter as the face. The reason he's it's like basically we're doing like a Mr. Peanut Butter goes to Washington store. Basically, he's going to speak about depression, which I wonder if that's gonna be like a kind of a if they're gonna. I think it'd be really hilarious if they played like an anti Mr. Rogers going to. On the Congress situation where basically he goes to speak about something, but instead of like being really humble, he's just really stupid. I have no idea what he's talking about.
Oh God.
Anyway, point being, peanut butter, of course, is going to Washington as the face of depression, which of course leads to him and Bojack kind of running into each other, and of course this video starts by making these words like, "Oh, it's old Bojack," of course, is like calling him old and everything like that. He's healing, man. He's healing. So anyway, they end up going to the Smithsonian. I love the conceit of this. You have the set where the Miss Peanut Butter said like Miss Peanut Butter's biggest dream come true, like the crossover between Bojack and his show, the show that he ripped off in the first one. So I love Bojack doing something nice for Mr. Peanut Butter. I think that's
exactly, man. It's like Mr. Peanut Butter might not deserve it, but you know what? Bojack's paying it forward.
Okay, here's the roller coaster effect. Are you ready for this? Buckle up.
Oh God. Okay.
So I'm in love with it at first. That's nice for Bojack. You know what? I'll give Peanut Butter this, and then he kind of wrecks it. He's just crying, and I appreciate it the whole time. But then we go up again, where the fact that these girls kind of come up on the side and says, "Oh man, look, he really is the face of depression." That saves it. I'm thinking like, Peanut Butter, they're not even doing the crossover because you finally got your crossover. You're just weeping like, "I can't get over the crossover." It's like, oh come on, man, you're wrecking this moment. But then again, leads to a gag. So that's a roller coaster. Kind of bounces out by the end of things. So,
all right.
Of course, Hollyhock presents Bojack with a really positive opportunity in life.
This is such a good, like, goddamn Dragon. I want Bojack to end up in this position so badly. This is like Bojack's like white whale, no pun intended.
You have the Gene Cousineau phase of Bojack's life.
No, but seriously, this is like the perfect Hollywood ending for Bojack Dragon.
It is. He gets to move away from Hollywood and become a teacher. Teaching professor of acting. Like, yes, that would be a happy ending. Whether it's going to stick or not, we'll have to get the speculation on that.
Oh man! All right,
I got some theories, but we'll get there.
I've definitely got theories too.
You got better theories, but we'll get there.
All right.
Anywho, we had the whole thing with Diane too, where Diane's also she works best when she's unhappy and she hates herself. Kind of a haunting line there. So a little. With the pants. Remember, she wears the pants to be uncomfortable. So I work best when I hate myself.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but it's kind of relatable, especially when I'm in writer mode.
Yep. All right. So let's see. Oh yeah, the painting, man. Oh, I love the painting gesture.
Remind me.
Okay, so Bojack gives Princess Carolyn essentially because he missed out on the whole adoption thing, so he didn't really give her like a baby shower gift, if you will. So he gave her the famous painting from Bojack, where there's the horse looking at the horse in the water.
God.
in the pool. And again,
Uh-huh.
apparently we get the name for it. It's the narcissist myth painting. And essentially, Bojack is giving away the old symbol of himself and the old burden of himself. Again, the narcissist. Again, the
Interesting.
painting that symbolizes his narcissism, and all of Hollywood is represented of this painting. He's always had this in his house around his desk. It's a very important painting for him. It represents, again, of course, the whole show opens with Bojack going in the pool. So in the pool, it's a very significant painting, and he gives it to Princess Carolyn, and it gets destroyed. So again, uplifting thing where, yeah, he gave her a painting and it got destroyed. He made her again. It's Bojack destroying the old negative version of himself in a sense.
Uh-huh. Right.
Right. And oh yeah, at the very ending, old Horseberg.
Yeah. I mean, once again, this is like one of the first times, like a big theme of this season has been how Bojack does not coexist with other horses well, but this is like one of the first times in the show where we really see him embrace his own kind.
The last time we had something like
beautiful, man. The last time we had something like this would be the end of season 3, right?
Yeah, when he runs with the horses, and basically I guess by proxy some of the secretariat stuff. Basically him running with all the horses, yeah. And of course J.K. Simmons as the horse preacher, I think. The horse father, that guy. All right, okay, that brings us to 8.
A quick one while he's away.
This is a really clever premise for an episode. I thought, are they going there? Yeah, they're going there.
Yeah. We're basically checking in with all our side characters. And meanwhile, literally all the main cast. So, like, correct me if I'm wrong. Like Todd, Princess Carolyn, Bojack, Peanut Butter, Diane. None of them are accounted for this episode.
The main 5 are all absent. Not a lick of them.
That's really bold. That's really bold.
Not even a mention. Not even they're not mentioned by name either.
Oh my god, especially because of the cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, I want to say that connects to the other 4 as well. I don't think they're even mentioned. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, where do you, we've essentially got 4 storylines going on. Where do you want to start?
All right, so let me say this again. The episode centers on importantly, with all of these characters, these are all lives that Bojack has ruined and hurt.
Of
course, sets up the dominoes to fall for sure. Let's talk about the reporters. Let's talk about the reporters first.
Oh my god, the reporters are so fun.
Here's the thing, man. I don't think they're bad, but I'm not crazy about them. I hope that change. This is the other thing I was talking about. This is the other thing I was building to. I'm not. Here's the thing.
This might just be like a subjectivity and humor thing. I love the old timey news reporter thing.
Well, I love old timey
news reporters. The hot on the trail of the story type stuff.
I love those too.
And I love the whole conceit of this woman is going on this grand adventure. She's postponing her wedding, but there might be some sexual tension between her and her reporting partner. We don't know. I don't know.
I mean, look, here's the thing. So I love the old 40s aesthetic of the reporters as well. I love that. But it really bothers me that these guys kind of come out of nowhere and they're serving such an important role.
Well, I mean, sometimes life works like that, Dragon, especially in celebrity culture. It's like all it takes is one leak to ruin a celebrity's life, and that's kind of how it works. And, it's kind of like, when you look at it in terms of let's say like a YouTuber. Okay, let's give like a hypothetical scenario here, Dragon. What about let's say 10 years from now, you and I are really, really popular podcasters, but then some random guy on the internet finds our, I don't know what our most offensive video would be, probably Christmas with the Cranks. I don't know if that's offensive on a quality level. I don't know what the most egregious thing we've ever done is.
Well, I can think of a few, but let's just stick with Christmas with the Cranks for our
Sure. And so, you know what I mean? It's just someone who just is just stumbling through the depths of YouTube and happens to find a bad video of ours could ruin us, Dragon. Could ruin us.
Well, first, I don't really think it's the best analogy, but let me put it this way. It's not the fact that they're serving such an... Here's the thing that bothers me. It's the fact they have so much going on in that, like, she has all, again, she's coming from a wedding, she's announcing all this stuff that's been going on with her. It's the fact that, okay, these guys have there's such an extensive kind of like thing go on with them here, and yet they're showing up now. And based on playing, it's more of a wait and see. I want to see if they're going to grow on me by the second half, if they even have a role in the second half. I don't know. It's just like we show up and we have so much going on, but they're throwing a lot at me with these characters just showed up, and they have a very important role in things, but I don't know.
I kind of like that. I don't know. I like that they're, to me, I didn't find it overwhelming, the amount of stuff that was going on with them, just because it was all very, very, like, cliche stock, like, like the old-timey reporter, like, I thought the whole storyline with the wedding and postponing the wedding to go on the reporting trip with the reporter that she may or may not have sexual tension with. That's all very stock kind of like, like dime store detective novel stuff, Dragon. So that's why I was able to follow it quite easily on my end.
I don't know. I'm not fully against it. I'm just it's kind of a wait and see. I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe what it is, it's the thing of, it's just, it's the fact that we don't see the other we check in with them at the start of things and they get their lead and then ... It makes the ... has been, I don't feel fulfilled like with it. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's
I mean, honestly, the place they end up, it's like if they end up any further, Dragon, then they're like about to peel a layer, Dragon. They're like on the like on the edge of peeling back a really important layer. So I'm kind of glad they didn't go that far, because I do think that kind of leaves it a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just like a line of like, sometimes there's parody where you just like, you say everything that you're parodying before you just do everything you're parodying. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Anyway, point being, I'm on the fence about it. I'm on the fence about it. Anyway. One thing, we put these guys in the play, and they basically they're looking to the Sarah Lynn story that we put in the play at the very beginning of the season. So they're looking to the death of Sarah Lynn, which again, there's no real case there. Where again, this is like the other stuff. It's kind of like, well, we took a leap to get him to look into the Sarah Lynn thing. Where again, that's kind of dead and buried, literally. Where why are we looking into it now? There's no case there. She overdosed, but there was someone there. I know that's a story, but like again, you're looking at like it's a murder investigation. There's no story.
No, I mean, I will say it is a little bit of a leap. I don't know. Like I said, I like it just on the basis of like it kind of goes to show sort of like the randomness of this industry and how the past can come back to haunt you in the most unexpected of places. So.
I like where our story's going with them, obviously. That's why I'm on the fence. I like what we're doing with them. I'm just not sure, like, we gave, like, such an important story. Like, again, things are going to crack into these two. But, again, I'm open-minded to it. We'll see where it goes. Anyway. Sure. So, of course, I love they get the drinking bird, by the way. I love the drinking bird in AA is what gave him the lead to the New Mexico story.
Uh-huh.
It's a drinking bird in AA. Just a drinking bird that's now drinking water instead of alcohol. I think it's hysterical.
Yeah.
Drinking bird in AA. Okay. So let's see. So point being, Sarah Lynn being a life that was ruined, of course, connecting to New Mexico, another life that was ruined, which we'll check in with. Let's talk about Kelsey Jennings. So, of course, Kelsey Jennings, I completely forgot who did her voice, but she's voiced by someone really, Maria Bamford, a comedian.
Yeah. She seems to be doing the best out of all these people.
Yes, but remember, Bojack kind of hurt her career a great deal.
He did, but I'm just saying, like, she's bouncing back from that. Like, the stuff with Gina is very much like, like Gina is in a much worse place than Kelsey is at the start of this.
I think Kelsey's more of a parallel to Bojack, and that Kelsey is struggling. She's struggling to do good movies in the industry because she was going to do the great movie that was going to make her career with the Secretariat, and then that was taken away from her because of Bojack,
right?
Trying to kind of schmooze the studio. It's kind of and he was very apologetic. Again, he wanted to apologize. But we had the whole silent episode that whole thing. Anyway, point being, they kind of tried to reconcile beyond that. Point being, it didn't go really well. He gave her hope for a second project, and it failed miserably. And that's why the point is she's struggling to find work. So we're kind of saying something about the industry, which again you and I were going to talk about when we get to another certain video this week. But there's very much kind of a war going on in the industry these days about superhero movies.
Oh dear! Successful they are. Dragon, don't get your hopes up about talking too long about that. I'm kind of taking the Switzerland approach on that subject.
Well, I'm not going to get too into it either. I'm just saying we're going to at least address it by name there. But there's kind of a thing going on these days about about some people kind of like Hollywood maybe judging superhero movies a little harshly or not harshly, depending on which side you come at it from the equation. Point being, she's doing Fire Flame, this new superhero movie, and basically she comes in there, she gives them the pitch they want to hear, but then she's very regretful. But then she gives like what her indie pitch would be, like what her pitch would be, and how basically being a woman in Hollywood is hard, and it is. So basically saying like women can't do anything without kind of like they don't get the same judgment as men. Point being, she has like an
female directors for Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy.
That's a good question. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Huh.
Anyways.
Hey, McLaren. Let's get her doing some stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I'd be totally down.
I know there's going to be a sect of people who are saying, another Breaking Bad director? Are you out of your mind? But again,
better than a Game of Thrones showrunner, am I right?
Well, you and I are simpatico. Like, let's not judge any Breaking Bad director. Anyway.
No, honestly, if like Breaking Bad people just ran the entertainment industry, I'd be happy.
I would as well. If Vince Gilligan could be a Kevin Feige, I think we'd live in
God.
We'd live in a world with better craft service. Anyway.
God. Oh man.
Anyway.
Doug Walker would just be rotting in jail.
He'd be in craft service jail. You know what he served in craft service jail?
The sandwiches from Firefest, the cheese sandwiches.
That's better than what I was going to say. Yes, I was going to say nothing. That's what, but no, you're absolutely right. Yeah,
the cheese sandwiches from Firefest.
Yeah, that's that. I'm jealous I didn't think that, but you're right. Anyway, the point being, Kelsey, it's a little hopeful, but it's still sad though. The fact is, Kelsey's probably blown that job opportunity for herself, but she stood for her principles though.
Yeah.
Okay, then of course, as you mentioned, Gina. So Gina is the most damaged out of
this. This is some haunting stuff. Yeah, man. Gina is like probably one of the most tragic characters in the whole show, I think.
It's Stephanie Beatrice, man. I just can't get enough of her. She's wonderful in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think I love her doing the dramatic stuff in Bojack Horseman.
She's really funny on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but yeah, you're right. She's super dramatic on this show.
Yeah. Oh God, she's so damaged by the past of Bojack, and it's so haunting and realistic that she would have. Really, she'd be very particular with stunts, specifically.
Especially around the neck.
Yes, of course, the whole dancing, even with dancing, where it's like, you're just being dipped on a whim, just being dipped. She gets flashbacks of what Bojack did, and it's like, oh boy. And of course, we call back one of your favorite bits. We call back the runner here. We get the F-bomb in this scene where the F-bomb is posed to her. It's like we mirrors her scene where during a stunt, someone then questions what the F is wrong with you.
Right.
Now asked to her, and that's so haunting right there. Like, oh God, now she's the Bojack, and that's not fair.
Yeah, and Bojack we can see is kind of like I said, he's like long-term damage on her. Like he is still very much fresh. Like he is just one of those people where she would probably go into like a panic attack if she even saw him.
And this is the sadder thing too. Remember, Gina was such a professional actress. Like she knew the business. She, she did all. She was really easy to work with. The director tells her what to do, and she does it. And of course, totally. By the end of things, again, she. And importantly, though, this is very sad for Gina. But she did make the choice, though. She did.
She did. It was kind of her own demise in a certain sense. But I do have theories about kind of how Gina is going to be like a Me Too thing with the next half of the season. So
now she's harder to work with. She's like she can't. We saw she could have gotten a job opportunity when she was denied that because she's hard to work with now. It's like so sad. Like, oh God, it's such a swell of pity for poor Gina. All right, let's see, Hollyhock. So Hollyhock's the big one.
Oh God. Oh God.
This is sad, man. After that airport hug, this makes it even sadder.
I know, it's brutal.
Oh God. So Hollyhock, she's So here, before we get to the big moment with Holly, I want to elevate like how I want to go up the escalator before it stops when we throw someone off.
Okay.
So Hollyhock, she's trying to. Of course, she's getting over her own trauma, and she's a little she has some anxiety post her drugging at Bojack's place. But
I mean, I don't blame her for like never wanting to drink after that.
But also, again, with Bojack's problems, and in a sense, I don't know if she's thinking about this, but I'd like to, in my own headcanon, I'd like to think she is. She's going to be the first horseman to try to drink healthy and in moderation, like the one who's not going to become the addict in the family, the one who's not going to have their life destroyed by alcohol. A lot of pressure, and again, we also full circle. We put her at a party. It's not her first party. We put her at a party like Bojack was when again drinking was on the table.
Right.
So she meets Peter. Now, Tiki, you remember Peter, don't you?
Oh, no, not in the moment. No, this totally got me. They played me like a fucking fiddle dragon. Calling him Peter instead of Pete totally threw me off.
Yeah, me too. I didn't see it coming either. I just like, oh God, it's him. With the minute they said prom, it was like, oh God.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh God.
Dragon, like I said, this is probably the most effective cliffhanger this show's ever done from a pure, like, what the fuck is going to happen next level.
Now, I need you to remind me of something, Tiki. You might remember it better than I, because I know season 2 is really your bag. But
season 2 is, in fact, one of my favorite seasons, yes.
You gotta tell me, was the moment when Bojack, he abandoned them at the hospital, was it really played severely as it is reflected here, or was it a little, like, funny? Okay,
no. The thing is, up until that, the whole night was kind of played, like, whimsically.
That's what I'm saying. So that moment, was it just when he abandoned, remind me, was it when he abandoned him?
Okay, when he abandons him, it's kind of just played as, like, a joke, like, look how irresponsible Bojack's being.
That's what I thought.
Like, it's dark.
Yeah.
Just, like, linger on it. You know what I mean?
Okay, so my point. I was
like,
making sure my
really,
point was
the episode only gets serious once we get into the stuff with Charlotte.
So that's the thing, exactly. So I want to make sure it wasn't crazy when I was making my
point.
No,
I don't think you're not at all. Like I said, it's fucked up. But it's not really presented as fucked up in the moment. Kind of like the Sarah Lynn stuff.
But I love that we've now. This is what I'm getting at. I love that we've now recontextualized that moment that we played for a laugh, or at least kind of like a button to a scene. And now we've looked. Oh God, there's again the whole season being about kind of consequence and kind of healing. And again, this like okay, so this guy is healed, but he also again he suffered. He's a consequence of Bojack's action. Again, like a little like ha, Bojack's drunken antics. Ha, he's irresponsible, and Bojack. Bojack has traumatized these poor kids with like near alcohol poisoning, and of course we just have this like he was famous. They were really trippy things. He was famous. What was his name?
No. Who is he?
Oh right, yeah, darn, yeah, you're right. Yeah, who is he?
Who is he?
Oh God.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like imagine like Inception meets Dominoes. It's kind of what you have in the scene where like you see the dominoes line up and they God, did it start to fall? Did it start to fall?
Right. Oh man, but you know what? I mean, he might not. Do you want to go right into spec?
Yeah, let's go into spec. Yeah.
All right, there is a possibility that he might not tell her exactly who he is because Bojack did threaten him.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm blanking on this. Remind me, how'd that go down? So he just, like, on the way to the hospital, he said, forget who I am? Or?
No. As he's dropping him off at the hospital, he's kind of just said, like, forget this ever happened, like, I'll protect you if you protect me sort of deal.
Based on that, okay, oh, man, it's interesting because I'm looking at it two ways now. See, I was thinking, no, he's not going to, sorry, initially I was thinking absolutely he would tell him, but then again, what if Bojack? Oh god, broad speculation. You're bridging off of your thing. What if Bojack became the next big infamous icon in Hollywood, like the big like the white whale of the
I think that's where we're going. I really
do. Of the Me Too movement. What if like he was like
I
the
think
next?
That's exactly where we're headed, Dragon. I like Bojack has been propped up. He's gone through genuine character development. And the past is going to come back to haunt him. And Bojack does have a very haunted past. And, the stuff with Sarah Lynn is going to tie back together with the reporters. The reporters are going to talk about, are going to talk to Charlotte. That's going to come back together. Hollyhock, that's going to have ramifications. I mean, everything is kind of coming into the light for Bojack all at once, right at the kind of the high point of his recovery process. And that's kind of like the tragic thing about this business and about kind of the Me Too movement. And I'm not saying that people who are, who have their careers ruined by Me Too, like, the Kevin Spaceys and the Harvey Weinsteins of the world. I'm not saying that they don't deserve to have their careers ruined, but I'm saying it's just kind of like a crazy sort of like, sort of whirlwind effect that this kind of stuff can have on you.
Oh yeah, basically I see two paths for the whole ending of the series. It's going to go down one of two ways. All right, we're either I think everything's going to come to a head I think we're going to go to New Mexico. We're going to have a reunion in New Mexico, or I mean, I guess they could be brought out to Hollywood, but I imagine we're going again, given how globetrotting Bojack was, he's going to return to New Mexico. Be my guess.
That'd be intense.
One being New Mexico is going to be our big kind of like our big battlefield for what's going to happen. The big set piece for things in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's going to be them brought to him or I think we're going to go to New Mexico anyway. Okay. So we're going to have we're going to have a reconciliation, which is going to have aftermath, which is going to lead to two things. So basically, he's going to go there. He's going to have a scene. He's going to basically have another scene with I'm blanking on her name, but
Penny.
Penny, yes, thank you. He's going to have the reconciliation with Penny, and he's going to have the little reunion with Penny, which could go either way. And it's going to go either the optimistic way of it's going to be healing, forgiveness. As Bojack, you've done a lot of things, but you've come a long way, and you know what? I basically she'll come to it's going to be a begrudged forgiveness sort of thing. Or becomes the next Weinstein and celebrity, and basically going to become Bojack's going to be. He's stepped so much out of the limelight, he's going to become a celebrity all over again and commit suicide.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I have very different ideas.
I think he's going to be dead in the pool.
All right. So I think...
he could become the painting. That's the thing. He's going to be dead in the because he almost drowned in episode 1. I think if he's going to die, he's going to die in the pool.
I think there's other stuff that's surfacing around about him that's going to come to light. I think one of the earliest potential scandals that he was involved in on the show was the sex pictures with Sarah Lynn. I'm convinced those are going to come to light. I just think that I basically think that everything is just going to kind of come out all at once. I think that I absolutely think that Gina is going to come out and kind of be like a hashtag Me Too case of talking about the abuse she experienced at the hands of him. Of course, like we said, that all the Penny stuff definitely feels like it's ramping up. But Dragon, here is my thing. Here's my theory. I don't think he's gonna die. I think that what's gonna end up happening. And this is kind of my sort of like I'm pushing my chips all in on this theory. All right.
Okay, good. Hit me with it, man. I'm on the edge.
I think the penultimate episode he's going to get sentenced to 10 years in prison.
Ooh.
And then I think the final episode we're going to get a time jump to him being released from prison.
I didn't think that's a great idea. See, my mindset was that. Bojack, he just can't go on after everything he's been through after the healing process. He's not going to be able to go through all of it again, and it's just going to be too much.
Prison is going to be the healing process he needs. It's going to be the retribution that he's kind of seeking. You know what I mean? It's going to be like the ultimate sort of like he actively wants to be punished.
He does. For the things you're right. You see, I knew your idea was going to be better, and it was. That's the thing. See, I was thinking about it in dark terms, I guess.
And of course, the 10 years later thing, we can have a chance to kind of do a lot of fun stuff with the, with the side characters as well.
Ruthie's going to be grown up.
Yes. I'd love to see the, what's his name? The grown up man.
All right, Vince, Vince the grown-up man, that guy.
Yes. I'd love to see him, but they're like just all like dudes in their 20s, but they're still piling into the trench coat.
I still never liked that guy. I've never liked that idea, by the
way. Maybe Kelsey's won an Oscar at this point, stuff like that.
That'd be nice. Good for him.
Yeah. Of course, I think we need to see Todd reconcile with his mother at some point in the next season.
Let me frame. I'm sorry. Keep going. Your idea is better. Keep going.
Okay. I'm sorry. I have an idea for the last scene of the show, the last moment of the show, the last line of the show, And it's not my idea per se. It's a theory. It's a theory that's been passed around Reddit and stuff. But I want to kind of save it for the end. So anything else you want to work in before I get to that?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, basically, I'm looking at it kind of simplistic in terms of either it's going to be it's either healing forgiveness or again kind of celebrity suicide. Those kind of the two paths I'm looking at here. I guess the bigger subtext, basically it's going to be a very we're on the same track of a very kind of Me Too subtextually driven season, very Me Too-esque kind of thing driving whatever's going to happen at the end of things here, and I think I think whatever path's going to happen, whether Bojack's going to be punished, whether again be lethally or not, Bojack's going to be punished or being forgiven in one sense of the word. I think it all derives from where we're at in the culture now, where basically, the thing that I want to see Bojack do, I've always been impressed. Season 5 really impressed me when Bojack kind of raised the thing no one's talking about, raised the thing to Diane of he does feel guilt for the bad things that he's done.
Mm-hmm,
It doesn't. He knows it doesn't fix anything. I love that scene.
Yeah.
In an episode, and I respect them for bringing that up because no one around. Well, in the height of the Me Too and everything, what's going on there? I'm not trying to get political here. I'm just mentioning the thing, but again, we're very reliant on this in Bojack. We kind of have to talk about it. It's I basically we're raising the really. I hope you're going to raise the really intelligent question of are we living in a society where forgiveness is even an option anymore? Are we? Is that's the thing? Are is unearthing the mistakes just is Bojack doomed in a sense? That's kind of where I was looking at, looking to the lethal ends of the thing here. Where is he perpetually doomed in the sense, or will, I guess in your sense, will prison heal him or bring him back? Regardless, that's the thing. Is he doomed purely because of these mistakes? Is there any hope for anyone, even once things come out in light and come forward and all that sort of stuff? Are we in a culture where we can do we even entertain? We say we want things to change, but it's kind of a false promise.
Oh man, I'm loving where my ending's going. Then
you see what I'm saying? We're offering we want things to change, but it's kind of a false promise in the sense.
All right, you're gonna love my ending.
I'm hoping to. It's that sort of thing where we want change to happen, but it's kind of the false promise of you're going to. We're not going to encourage people to be better. We're just going to let them do. We're just going to basically people come forward. We're just going we're going to get them. We're just going to slam the trap down. It's slam the trap. They're gone. Sure, either throw them in a cage or it's basically they're symbolically or in this case literally going to die. So that brings us to hit me with your ending, man. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Okay, so Bojack gets released from prison. He spends the episode walking around Hollywood trying to reconnect with his old friends or family. He finds out that some of them are maybe dead. Some of them have passed on to other states and stuff. Some of them just want nothing to do with him. Some of them are impossible to get in contact with. Point is, the biggest thing is that Hollyhock just wants nothing to do with him at all. So the biggest thing of this is that, of course, he just has no one. And Dragon, he spends all day walking around. And then, Dragon, he walks into a bar. And the bartender says, as he sits down, the bartender says, "Why the long face?"
Yes!
Fucking credits!
Yes! 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 Love it! Oh!
Like I said, Dragon, I am not the first person to raise the, horse walks into the bar, bartender says, "Why the long face?" I'm not the first person to bring that up, but I am connecting it to my whole 10-year time jump thing. I am kind of putting the pieces together there.
If the death thing doesn't happen, I want that to be the ending.
A horse walks into the bar and the bartender says, "Why the long face?"
Just perfect. I love it. Oh god, it's just
and then we just hear that last refrain of the guitar. Back in the 90s.
It's kind of saying the series has been the world's longest horse walks into a bar.
Exactly. Yeah. And of course the joke is that the long face has nothing to do with him being a horse.
Mm-hmm. just fantastic.
All right. Well, I'm glad I was able to kind of give you a heart attack with that, Dragon.
That was great.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. Like I said, it's a popular Reddit theory, so it's not only my idea.
That's still better than what I came up with anyway.
All right. Okay, final thoughts.
Well, thoughts again. 6A. I'm pretty much as impressed by it as I was with 5. Again, they're on a track. It was getting better and better. And 6B. Again, it's so ridiculous I have to put it in these terms, but 6B is going to be, I have a good feeling about it, man. Again, those reporters are going to have to grow on me, but aside from that, basically, oh, wait, T, didn't you have like a pickles theory you wanted to?
Oh my God, yes, thank you.
Quickly, the big pickles thing. What do you got?
Okay, really quickly. So my theory is that Bojack, in a moment of desperation, is somehow going to sleep with Pickles, and that's going to like ruin his reputation even further. And when you think about it, Dragon, the only reason I think this theory has any relevance to it is that the struggle that Mr. Peanut Butter and Pickles are trying to find is trying to find someone that Pickles can cheat on Mr. Peanut Butter with that would have as much emotional impact as Diane had on her. Mr. Peanut Butter fucking loves Bojack. Maybe not in a gay way, but definitely like as a friend. And I don't know. I just think that I think that I don't see the situation where Bojack would sleep with her unless he was just getting like really desperate for some kind of human connection or something. You know what I mean? Like maybe all the people are turning on him and she's like the only one who's, in her like quest for fucking, in the stupid like quest for cheating on Peanut Butter to redeem Peanut Butter. I don't know. You see what I'm saying? And then that kind of has even more of a domino effect. It kind of, it drives the wedge between Peanut Butter, who you would think would be the last person to give up on Bojack. And then it also just kind of reaffirms the media's image of Peanut Butter. I mean, the images, the media's image of Bojack is kind of like this sleazy guy who gets with young women. And also it would kind of drive a wedge of like kind of the hypocrisy of the media where no one bats an eye at Peanut Butter being with the young women, but when Bojack does it, it's wrong. I don't know. I think there's a lot you could kind of mine from there. And like I said, I'm just kind of, at the end of the day, I'm really just trying to find a point to the Pickles sleeping around subplot.
That's a really good idea. So I think it's just a question of geography and when. Like, will it be before the news gets out, or like they're gonna like go to Bojack? Because remember, Bojack's not in Hollywood right now. They're gonna go out to him and say, "Hey, buddy, I was wondering if you could do me a favor." Or is it going to be again basically what you're?
I don't think that Peanut Butter would be in on it. I think that it's an idea that Pickles would come up, knowing that Peanut Butter, like knowing how much it would hurt Peanut Butter. You know what I mean?
That's true. But remember, Peanut Butter had the idea. See, my take on the scene was that he looked at Joey Pogo, and Joey Pogo was going to be the person. I know, not a good idea. But that's what I think that's what they were alluding to. And again, if it goes your way, I'm going to be impressed because your way sound a lot better. But again, it sounded like Peanut Butter had an idea of like who to get. It could be a thing where Peanut Butter thinks of Joey Pogo or she thinks of Bojack, and then you have your cake and eat it too. Anywho, so yeah, but yeah, it's so. Anyways, simple thing for me is again, I'm continuing to be impressed by the way the seasons are going. Again, I kind of need to be sold in the reporters, but again, the story sounds like it's going to be ironclad and really awesome going into the second half of 6. Man, it should be something to behold. At the very least, this show, considering they've how thought provoking they've been in their latter halves of the season. They're basically going forward. They've had a plan. They know what they've been doing. So I'm sure 6 is going to be great. I just wonder. It's just a question of how far they're going to go. Because again, there's so many ways. We've seen so many Hollywood stories and their endings, and sometimes it ends in death, sometimes it ends in life, and that they're having like a new lease.
I don't think this story is going to have a happy ending. I think that's the only thing I'm sure of.
That's the thing. It's just a question.
At the very best, it might have a bittersweet ending.
Like that's the thing, because we've kind of had our happy endings, or at least our quasi-happy endings. Like you get Bojack. Like exactly. Bojack has a sister. Happy ending. Bojack off the rehab.
Episode 7 right now is kind of what scares me.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it sounds like Bojack already has happy ending, therefore he's kind of doomed for an unhappy ending of some variety. It's just a question of how unhappy. Like, how much closure is Bojack going to gonna get. And that's the thing. Like, it's quite a question like what is the right measure of an ending for Bojack? Like, it's gonna be punished. The next half's gonna be all punishment for him. So if the theme was healing, the next half's gonna be pain and punishment.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's either pain, it may be punishment and redemption. Maybe it's a question of, like, it's punishment and the question of redemption. It's kind of my hopes for the second half of 6 in terms of thematicism. But anyway, point being, so I think they're very excited to see where season 6 is going to end up. Okay.
All right, yeah. I can't say that it's like I can't rank this season with the other seasons yet, Dragon, because of course it's only half a season.
Yeah.
But I will say that it's very much on point of like if season 6 part 2 sticks to landing, and I'm not going to do any of this like part 1, part 2 crap. Like as far as I'm concerned, it's going to be like Breaking Bad season 5. It's like once we know the whole story, I'm just going to consider the whole thing season 6.
Absolutely.
If it sticks to landing, because like we said, there's a lot of dominoes in place, and if it sticks to landing in a really poignant way, I think this has the potential to be the last and best season of the show. Yep. But I mean, regardless, I really love these first 8 episodes. I really wasn't bored with any of them. I thought they were all really well paced, had a great division of characters, had some really, really fun ways to tell the story, but didn't go as overboard with the unique storytelling devices as season 5. And so, yeah, I'm very optimistic and worried about the last part of this show. I really think that some really dramatic stuff is going to go down.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And also, just interestingly, right now, the show season 6 part 2 is scheduled to drop on Netflix. Literally, like now I haven't booked my dates in stone yet, but right now, Dragon, we are looking for first week of February for my Orlando trip next year. So my point is we might have like a little bit of a delay to get that Bojack Horseman season 6 part 2 spoiler cast out to you guys.
Well, remember, it's in January though. Is it early January or late January?
January 31st.
Oh yeah, you're right. That might be. I thought it was early. I don't know why I thought it was early January. You're right.
It's literally January 31st.
Oh man, yeah.
Like, honestly, if I get lucky, then what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to download all the episodes onto my phone and just watch the whole season on the plane. That'd be great. Yep. Anyways. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one.
Really, Diane?
It's legally allowed to murder, Diane. All you have to do is make $1 billion.
And you can murder